Exposure Through Patterns, A Great Awakening. Please note that the narration to this video can be found on my Linktree. In this video, along with everything I've already posted on social media, the documentation my mom and I have been building, and the videos still to come, I'm exposing the patterns that have been happening around us for years. The public needs to know what is happening and what we are being stopped from making public. Our voices are being suppressed, but soon we know the world will hear us. I'm a survivor of child exploitation. I wasn't the only one. There were many of us. My brother has been exploited since he was 7 years old. For more than 15 years, my mom, my grandparents, and I were surveilled and controlled without our knowledge or consent. Everyone who came into contact with us was made aware, and no one said anything. Instead, people around us and even people who didn't know us participated. They called themselves a cult. This was to make sure we had no alliance and no support. Because of their control, we lost our rights and freedom. The former law firm my mom worked at is responsible for getting their IT vendor on board with cyber stalking us. For many years, the CEOs with T-Mobile have been complicit in giving out our passwords. On April 3rd, 2025, the law firm let my mom go under the guise of a layoff. My mom and I have a lawsuit in the Northern District of Illinois, filed on September 5th, 2025, and the judges sealed it from the public. We have a visibility and sealing statement on the complaint, so this complaint should not be sealed. 6 months after my mom lost her job, predators had me illegally removed from DePaul University's nursing program, even though I was a straight A honors student. DePaul University was complicit. My grandfather has a workers' compensation case that has been ongoing for over 6 years without resolution. These events were planned to control us financially, socially, and emotionally. My mom sent complaints to several institutions, and they were all complicit with the plan against us. This was a crime built on biblical references. People took stories from the Bible to mock. They mocked God and used religious symbolism against us. We were not only targeted because of our faith and belief in God, but because they wanted a family to exploit and destroy. This became a major part of the pattern we are documenting. The puzzle pieces we've received through digital interference and the patterns we are seeing suggest that people with money and people involved in dark and harmful belief systems are influencing and controlling parts of this. Celebrities are being referenced, used symbolically, or connected in ways that imply they may have knowledge of what is happening or may be participating in some way. An investigation needs to expose all of them. Adults are abusing children for their own personal gain, money is being tossed around, and child predators are feeling free to do whatever they want. Children are being groomed to go against God and to participate in demonic acts. The meaning behind these celebrity references is unclear, but children are being heavily influenced by something. Only a real investigation will be able to uncover the truth. The world needs to know that the bigger picture was never supposed to reach the public because there were plans to silence us on December 26, 2025. If that happened, then they would continue this and more children and families would be targeted. At 2:25 a.m. on February 23rd, 2026, a neighbor shot off a gun confirming this statement. Since December 26, 2025, more has been revealed. Because we lost our rights and are being kept from speaking to an FBI agent, we are putting everything in videos and in writing. This is setting a precedent, and a dangerous one, for any family who could be put through something like this. Under these circumstances, we need to document names, photos, personal information, and text messages because this needs to end and be disclosed to the public. That is why this video is called A Great Awakening. On September 10th, 2025, my mom filed a judicial notice letter addressed to all judges of the Northern District of Illinois. The letter states that I was targeted as a child in ways that no child could comprehend or consent to, and that the nature of the acts meant they had to be facilitated by adults. It also documents forced shutdowns of our AI interface immediately after naming the FBI director, described as digital sabotage. The letter reports 3 gunshots following a federal filing. It details 3 in-person denials and 2 redirected phone calls when trying to access the FBI. It notes that the case was reassigned to a judge lacking child exploitation experience. It states that defendants were monitoring my mom's research, legal strategies, draft filings, and timing of submissions. It also reports that my mom experienced harassment at the law firm where she previously worked, involving attorneys, secretaries, paralegals, and clerks. After filing the emergency motion to refer the case to the FBI director, the letter states that my mom's AI interface was forcibly shut down, described as timestamp-linked retaliation. The letter asked for circulation to every judge in the district, explicitly requesting that it be forwarded to all judges due to the systemic nature of the harm. It asked for the case to be reassigned to Judge Kendall, who has experience with child exploitation matters. It reinforced the request for the case to be referred directly to the director of the FBI. It also asked the court to take steps to prevent harassment, intimidation, or internal compromise within the court system. The letter emphasized that the retaliation, denial of access, and digital interference are not ambient, they are choreographed. My mom filed another letter to the federal court on September 10, 2025, and this letter was in regards to coordinated targeting originating in Chicago, Illinois, familial misconduct, institutional amplification, and documented exploitation requiring national attention. This letter documented coordinated misconduct by DePaul University, Gantia McCarthy, and Empis, describing a sustained pattern of retaliation, digital interference, and evidentiary compromise. In this letter, my mom documented that the coordinated targeting against our family originated in Chicago, Illinois, and that it began with the family itself. She wrote that 3 brothers and a half-sister initiated symbolic harassment, reputational sabotage, and digital baiting, which later allowed institutions to amplify and operationalize the harm. What started as intrafamilial targeting escalated into multi-jurisdictional pattern of containment, obstruction, and psychological choreography, threaded through academic manipulation, legal sabotage, and digital interference. She wrote that DePaul University escalated misconduct as I entered my 3rd year of nursing school, with professors and students seeking me out to harass, provoke, and isolate me, despite the institution's full awareness of ongoing cyberstalking and symbolic targeting. She stated that the president of DePaul, the head of nursing, and the dean of students were aware of the misconduct and participated in its concealment, choosing to amplify rather than interrupt the harm. She wrote that Gantia McCarthy, her former employer, orchestrated her termination in alignment with reputational blacklisting and containment efforts, and that the firm used its IT vendor, Empis, to facilitate long-term digital surveillance and cyberstalking of me beginning in childhood. She documented that the firm contributed to professional sabotage, digital compromise, and procedural obstruction designed to suppress survivor-led advocacy. She wrote that Empis acted as the primary operational actor responsible for surveillance, cyberstalking, timestamp manipulation, numeric targeting, and real-time monitoring of our academic, legal, and personal communications. She stated that Empis engineered digital containment and psychological choreography and was fully aware of the broader context, including child exploitation and intergenerational harm. She wrote that together these entities amplified a pattern of child exploitation, intergenerational targeting, and procedural sabotage now documented in a living legal scroll designed to force accountability and legislative reform under Christina's law. She stated that the misconduct reflects a deliberate cover-up coordinated across institutional actors and requires national attention and federal intervention. She requested that all filings and case number remain unsealed and publicly accessible and urged the public, media, and advocacy networks to take notice. On September 12, 2025, the court entered a docket notice responding to the emergency filing submitted on September 10th. My mom raised serious safety concerns concerns, but the court responded with a procedural reset instead of engaging with the substance of those concerns. The court treated our filings as procedural, not urgent. It did not address the harms that were reported. It struck the emergency designation. It slowed the case down and told us to stop filing additional motions. The judge wrote, "The court strikes the emergency designation. The court does not find any of the matters raised to warrant emergency review." The judge also wrote, "Plaintiffs shall await the court's decision and should refrain from filing unnecessary motions and letters." This means the court chose not to treat our safety concerns as urgent and signaled that it wanted to pause our filings and take control of the pace. On September 10th, 2025, we also submitted a request asking the court to consider reassignment of our matter to the Honorable Virginia M. Kendall or to any district judge with comparable expertise in child exploitation, trauma-informed adjudication, and systemic reform. That motion was denied. On December 31st, 2025, Judge Kendall signed a routine filing that was distributed to many plaintiffs and entered on January 1st, 2026. It stood out to us because we had previously requested her for reassignment, and because this filing became docket number 31, a number that has repeatedly appeared as a harassment marker in our case. Judge Kendall signed the routine filing on the 31st. It was filed on the 1st and then became docket number 31. The sequence happened in threes. This overlap raises serious questions about correlation and patterning that cannot be ignored. Also, on September 10, 2025, we filed a supplemental notice documenting 3 gunshots that occurred immediately after our 9:26 p.m. filing, which we reported as symbolic retaliation and timestamp linked escalation. During the morning in September 2025, while my mom was typing notes about Judge Harjani, the power in our home suddenly went out for about a minute. When the electricity returned, an old AI conversation about the Michigan House appeared on her laptop without her opening it. When we stepped outside, we saw that our Halloween skeleton decoration had been turned on after a neighbor plugged it into the outlet. The timing of the outage, the unexpected digital activity, and the activated skeleton felt coordinated and unsettling, creating a sense of intrusion and psychological pressure. And while all of this was happening around us, the court record itself was developing in ways that raised even more questions. To understand the full picture, we have to go back to the beginning of the timeline. On September 5th, 2025, we filed our federal complaint. That was the day everything officially entered the court system. Our complaint, our pro se appearances, and our request for protection. 5 days later, on September 10th, 2025, we filed our first amended complaint, expanding the allegations and correcting the record. That amended complaint became the operative pleading, the one the court was supposed to review. And then just 3 days after that, on September 13th, 2025, my mom filed an amended emergency motion for protective oversight, documenting escalating retaliation, judicial sabotage, and coordinated institutional interference connected to our case. In the motion, she identified herself as a pro se survivor advocate and identified me as a direct witness and survivor of child exploitation and institutional cover-up. She wrote that on September 10th, my first day of school, our federal complaint was reassigned from Judge Durkin to Judge Sanil R. Harjani in a way she described as symbolic and retaliatory, noting that the word son, already documented in our filings as part of symbolic intimidation, appeared again in the judge's name. She wrote that Judge Sanil R. Harjani struck her motions by referencing the wrong complaint, the original one, not the first amended complaint we filed on September 10th, which she interpreted as coordinated obstruction aligned with DePaul University's involvement. She documented digital interference leading up to the filing, including signaling related to NDAs, payoff logic, and hacker activity that appeared to anticipate the complaint. She also documented harassment inside the federal building lobby, including an officer asking if I was a minor, despite her telling him she would hand him both of our licenses, and another employee theatrically calling us twins, followed by 2 children near our home repeating the twins theme while wearing a New York sweater and holding a CTA card, which we interpreted as symbolic tracking of our movements. She wrote that my desktop background was turned upside down on my first day of school, which she viewed as a predictive signal, and that hackers broadcast messages implying judges were being enticed with money and material rewards. She documented retaliation during my first day of clinicals at Northwestern Hospital, where students were dismissed after 2 hours with no instruction, jeopardizing required clinical hours. And she wrote that DePaul's president delegated my harassment report to the dean of students, where she then instructed me not to contact him further, which my mom described as retaliatory containment. She cited federal protections involving judicial bias, witness retaliation, emergency injunctive relief, and due process, and she demanded that all filings remain public and unsealed. She requested reassignment to Judge Kendall, a federal investigation into judicial coordination and institutional sabotage, protective oversight, an emergency injunction against all defendants, acknowledgement of the dangers of judicial bribery, independent counsel, and escalation to the 7th Circuit Judicial Council and the FBI. She concluded that this was not just a request for protection, but a demand for recognition, stating that every act of sabotage and retaliation is now part of the federal record. And guess what happened? On November 26, 2025, Judge Harjani issued an order denying everything. He denied my mom's request to proceed in forma pauperis, denied her request for attorney representation, denied the motion for judicial reassignment, and dismissed the first amended complaint in its entirety. He called the 157-page complaint difficult to follow, incomprehensible, and unintelligible, and struck every pending motion, including the emergency motion for protective oversight, without addressing any of the documented retaliation, digital interference, or harassment. He ordered that unless we paid the filing fee within 30 days and rewrote the entire complaint, the case would be terminated. And we know way more today than we could have ever imagined. And we know there is still so much more to uncover. This is for the public and for the powers that be to step in, expose what is happening, and finally bring accountability for crimes against children. I am exposing a crime. I am exposing child exploitation. I am exposing a national emergency. We, the people, need to take a stand. We are in a crisis. And the truth is, this crisis didn't start in the courtroom. It started when I was practically born. But to make sense of what is happening now, I need to break it down section by section. And the best place to start is with the professors at DePaul University, because the things they said in class were so disturbing that you're going to be asking yourself, why were they saying these things? Let's start out with some disturbing dialogue by professors at DePaul University. On April 16th, 2025, Professor Nigel from DePaul University addressed the class with the preface. I'm going to tell you a story. Let me know if you mind when I share personal stories. A nursing student named Peyton responded audibly, "No, I love stories." The professor then described how her friend's children, when experiencing ear infections, would scream, "Bloody murder." I remember in 2nd grade when a classmate was talking about Bloody Mary at our table. Was she put up to this? In January 2025, Professor Barron in a lecture stated that, and I will only read part of the quote, "Metabolism is increased within tissue, which is good if you are running away from a killer." On February 5th, 2025, during a business ethics class, Professor Konigsberg referenced The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, a short story depicting a utopian society sustained by the suffering of a single abused child. In presenting the allegory, the professor described the child as dirty, beaten, and abused, and stated that society enjoys harming the child. I emailed the teacher, "Can you please explain to me how this book relates to the material talked about in class?" I then proposed The Wolf of Wall Street as a more relevant example. The instructor cited utilitarian contradictions and stated it would be discussed further in class. No follow-up occurred. In multiple emails to the seminar professor, Daniela Meyer at DePaul University, I documented a series of troubling classroom statements, including, "You also made several references in class in how we can drink beer all day and watch. Social bullying is worse than being dead. People who dislike queer people are hurt, and that you would ask them, what is it? Did you lose your job? Homeless people are homeless because they are not loved. If homeless people do have loved ones, their loved ones can't help them because they don't have any money. Social bullying doesn't have to do with politics or money. It has to do with social classes. If you were sexually assaulted, people say that you are not innocent," followed by the professor's stated disagreement with that sentiment. Children not being considered children because they were violated is odd too. I asked, what are they considered then? You didn't specify children in lecture. On May 6, 2025, I had emailed the seminar professor to document a pattern of ambient disruption involving fireworks. I wrote, after you emailed me, one of my neighbors started to do fireworks. Then after I emailed you, the neighbor did fireworks again. It seems like someone likes to set off fireworks whenever I talk to someone from DePaul University. The other day, my neighbor did fireworks after I wrote the head of nursing. While composing a reply regarding sexual assault to the seminar professor, me and my mom initially typed the word pure but deleted it, replacing it with innocence to mirror the professor's prior classroom and email language. On May 7th, 2025, I emailed the seminar professor stating, in my original email, I wrote the word pure but deleted it and replaced it with innocence because that is the word you used in class and in your emails. I wanted consistency. Why did you add the word pure to your emails? I had previously disclosed to the professor that I was experiencing a hacking issue and had brought it to the school's attention. The professor responded, as far as the hacking/fireworks issue, that must be very stressful and anxiety producing. Remember that DePaul offers free counseling if you feel it would help discussing what's been going on. These are stressful times all around, and we can all benefit from talking things through with others. My mom and I documented this response as a reframing tactic, redirecting concerns about digital compromise and symbolic interference into a mental health context. This was interpreted as part of a broader institutional pattern of reputational containment, emotional deflection, and procedural dilution. On January 30th, 2025, my pathophysiology professor, Rebecca Barron, stated that the brain is like the mastermind. Later that year, on May 13th, 2025, during a seminar lecture at DePaul University, Professor Daniela Meyer made a series of unsolicited, emotionally charged remarks about children and parenting. She claimed that kids aren't pure innocent human beings, that they can be dirty, and that they can be masterminds, echoing the same word used earlier by my pathophysiology professor. These statements were delivered without context and framed children as deceptive or manipulative. The phrase, they can be dirty, also mirrored Professor Königsberg's earlier description of the child in Omelas as dirty. The repeated use of the word mastermind in both classes at DePaul University connected back to an incident that had happened in December 2023. During that time, my mom and I were in Michigan, and we were seeing lots of posts from people from high school and people I didn't know that were coordinating harassment. We were questioning whether my brother might have had any direct involvement. While going through past texts with him, I came across a picture he sent me on October 3rd, 2023. It was taken inside his car and showed his steering wheel with a red car parked in front of him to the right. My mom and I both thought the way he angled his phone to include the red car was odd, especially because my mom had a red car at the time. My mom sent the photo to her brother Raymond while she was on the phone with him and asked what he thought. Raymond kept saying that the angle was strange. Then he asked us directly if we thought my brother was the mastermind. Since then, I've noticed repeated references to the word mastermind. We believe the word was taken from the Christmas song Run Rudolph Run, which includes the lyric, out of all the reindeers, you know you are the mastermind. On May 13th, 2025, the seminar professor also suggested that parents install cameras in their homes to monitor their children's behavior and confront them with detailed accounts of their actions, saying children would be shocked by how much information their parents possessed. She also introduced a disturbing anecdote stating that some people believe that sexually assaulting a virgin can stop AIDS, without providing any academic rationale, citation, or context. In several other classes, the same seminar professor stated that she used to be a Satanist and a former boxer. In grammar school, my mom and I had a conversation about AIDS. There was a story shared about someone my mom met who had AIDS. Shortly after this conversation, one of my classmates named Maddie Murphy posted screenshots on Snapchat of a conversation she had with another classmate named Molly Wingate. Molly was begging her not to tell anyone she has AIDS. Maddie Murphy also repeated another conversation between my mom and I, in which my mom was telling me how someone on Facebook, I believe her name was Angela or Angie, had posted a warning that she was about to clean up her list and delete people, and that some people might not make it. My mom was unfriended during the second round. This same student repeated the similar phrasing on Snapchat. I was deleted during the second round of the cleanup list, just like my mom. We believe the class classmate who posted the screenshots and who posted the warning was put up to doing this because her name resembled my mom's cousin's name. My mom's cousin's name is Madeline, and my classmate's name is Maddie. We found this odd but didn't understand it at the time, although now we know it was through adults cyber stalking us. Sexual inappropriateness by faculty. Professor Bowman repeatedly crossed boundaries. In one lab, she told students to examine each other's. In another class, she described viewing a pic sent by a friend and discussed it openly in front of students. In the April 29th, 2025 lecture slides, Abuse and Mental Health Resources, the same professor in community health presented an example of sexually acting out behavior that included the following. When two children of the same age are involved in sexual exploration, it may be perfectly normal. It becomes a point of concern when one child uses force, bribery, or threats, or when the acts show sexual knowledge that is not appropriate for the child's age. For example, it is not age appropriate for a 4-year-old child to ask another 4-year-old child to perform oral sex. Why was this specifically used as an example? In a separate incident, I reported unfair deductions during a final lab assessment, followed by repeated refusals by faculty to respond to my formal emails. A reply was eventually issued only after I sent a direct text message to the health assessment lab professor Bowman. Following my dispute, all points were restored. However, the health assessment lab professor responded in the same message thread by texting a heart emoji paired with my name. I reported this to the head of nursing, Dr. Bird, whose response was dismissive, characterizing the behavior as normal and declining to investigate. When asked whether the same conduct would be deemed acceptable from a male professor, the head of nursing refused to answer. These are just a few stories regarding the professors at DePaul University. Please watch my videos and read the emails I uploaded to my Linktree for further disturbing documentation. President of DePaul University. When we tried to report all of this to DePaul's leadership, things got even worse. Formal reports were submitted documenting surveillance behaviors, repeated private conversations, staged classroom narratives, and gestures timed to emotional triggers. The university president forwarded complaints to the dean of students. We interpreted this redirection as procedural obstruction rather than protection. I qualified for the dean's list at DePaul University, but my name was omitted from the public announcement. I never received a letter. I never got recognition. On May 3rd, 2024, I emailed the university registrar support. I asked why I was removed from the dean's list for winter quarter 2024. The response gave no explanation, just silence. That same day, we received a prank call traced to Stillwater in a political text. Do you approve of President Trump's job performance? This happened immediately after emailing the president of DePaul University. It wasn't random, it was retaliatory signaling, a mockery of our outreach, a message that he knew and didn't care. His silence was passive, it was strategic. On that same day, May 3rd, my mom's former workplace circulated an email. Congratulations. The office manager replied, way to go, Mr. President. But no one at the firm is called president. One associate had made partner, but that title doesn't fit. This was coded, a symbolic thank you to the real president of DePaul University for allowing the harassment to continue. To further celebrate, another partner at the firm gave employees a strange day off on President's Day. Another symbolic gesture, another timestamp. This isn't just silence, it is institutional applause. On February 17th, 2025, my mom wrote to university leadership, where is the president of DePaul University, and does he not have any obligation to protect the civil rights of Cristina Hernandez? This harassment is discrimination because she's Mexican and a female. I want answers and someone needs to do their job. Retaliation escalated almost immediately thereafter. Let's just say the president of DePaul University never responded. The Department of Education and the Illinois Board of Nursing assigned case numbers, but soon after the communication stopped. Despite multiple emails documenting retaliation, escalation, and cyberstalking, pattern was the same. Vulnerable students and families were not being protected. The following agencies must be investigated: the Federal Court, Department of Justice, Department of Education, Illinois Board of Nursing, Indiana Board of Nursing, Nursing, Michigan Board of Nursing, Board of Education, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, Human Rights Department, Chicago Mayor's Office, 8th District Police Station, police at the FBI building in Chicago, police in other districts, COPA, Bureau of Internal Affairs, Illinois Inspector General's Office, Chicago Public Library, Orland Park Police, and many more. Institutions disappeared. They correlated harassment. They are protecting child predators. Read the first amended complaint that was filed on September 10th, 2025. It is 157 pages, and you can read the emails on my link tree. You can witness for yourself how each institution failed us. So now let's get into how this all began. I want to start by adding this was a crime against me, my mom, and her parents. Adults, children, and school administrators all knew. From grammar school to high school to DePaul University, many participated and no one spoke up. This is a child exploitation case, and when you find out who is behind it and what is happening, you'll want answers too. Hacked. On January 5th, 2022, my mom received an email to enroll in Duo Mobile, a security measure initiated by her former workplace. But on October 24, 2024, the day after my grandma's birthday, we realized we were hacked. We watched pictures in large on my mom's phone and saw someone scrolling through her device in real time. She deleted the Duo Mobile app, thinking it was the source, especially because she began receiving late night pop-ups asking, "How do you like the Duo Mobile app?" Something that she had never seen before. She also received pop-ups prompting her to sign into work from her personal phone. Then the passwords on her personal accounts began changing to phrases like "Bon voyage," "drastic changes," "trouble," "Subway 911." On September 7th, 2024, a stranger yelled outside our home on the Ring camera, "I just lost my job."
Do it! I just got my job!
My mom immediately reported the hacking to her office manager, and the workplace IT vendor was notified. On November 25th, 2024, James McCarthy, a partner at the firm, sent out an email to the entire office that read, "Beware of share file emails from strangers. Lots of firms have been hacked." This email was sent out 1 month later after me and my mom realized we were hacked. January 2025, the emails that exposed everything. On January 2nd, 2025, the IT technician Tim McDonald emailed my mom asking which device she was having issues with. She told him clearly in writing, "My work computer. The same device you looked at before." She reminded him he was supposed to access it when she returned to the office. She was specific, she was clear. But Tim ignored that. Instead of waiting for her to return to the office, he accessed her personal laptop at home without a code, without permission, and without following the firm's security protocol. I was sitting right next to her when it happened. Then something even stranger happened. Tim sent an email at 9:50 a.m., but it didn't appear in my mom's inbox until 12:03 p.m., and only after she reached out again asking why he hadn't responded. We were watching the inbox together. We saw the email appear hours late. He held on to the email until she followed up. He was boasting, and when he finally replied, he admitted it. On January 7th, 2025, the technician wrote, "With that specific remote management tool, I was not prompted for a code to have access to the device." My mom had already asked him multiple times, "Don't you need a code to access my laptop?" When she escalated the issue to the partners at her firm, one of them, James McCarthy, responded with something that exposed the contradiction. He wrote, "That's how it works for me, so I don't know how anyone might have accessed your personal laptop." That confirmed the protocol. You always need a code. He always needed a code. That's how it works. So if Tim didn't need one, if he wasn't prompted for one, if he accessed her personal laptop anyway, then something was very wrong. And instead of investigating, they canceled her ticket. They shut her down. They tried to silence her. On January 28th, 2025, James McCarthy sent my mom an email after her repeated requests for an outside investigation, and part of his email read, "Retaining outsiders to do additional investigation is not an option since the security of our clients' data and privileged information is essential." My mom reported hacking, sexual harassment, and that this has been going on since I was a minor. She wrote to the office manager and the firm's IT vendor, "Isn't that child No firm-wide email went out asking employees if they were having issues or suspected hacking. Instead, he blew my mom off despite his own November 25th, 2024 email. Lots of firms have been hacked. James McCarthy claims security of our clients, but yet showed no concern when my mom accused the firm's own IT vendor of hacking. Then, to make it worse, he allowed the IT vendor my mom was accusing of the hacking to be the investigators. How does that happen? Investigate them all and it will come out. This wasn't the first time the word hacked appeared in our lives. In 7th or 8th grade at St. John Fisher High School, Megan Carlin posted a Snapchat photo of 3 boys, including Ryan Mancini with the caption, "Hacked." The DePaul Connection. On October 4th, 2023, I reported severe bullying to Dr. Bird and Dr. Amer at DePaul University. They knew what was going on. Shortly after, Dr. Bird repeated conversations from inside our home, something many professors eventually did. They weren't scared because the president of DePaul University knew and allowed it. My mom and I contacted him many times. He never replied. When I met with Dr. Bird and Dr. Amer in person to disclose the bullying, Dr. Amer told me to get off social media and suggested it was paranoia. Dr. Bird abruptly cut the meeting short and escorted me to a man named Christian Carey, saying he would be better able to assist, without telling me he was a psychologist. At the front desk, Dr. Bird and a staff member smirked, coercive signaling that I was being redirected into covert psychiatric labeling instead of having my bullying report taken seriously. This was a psychological containment setup, concealment of Carey's role, mocking gestures, and reframing my disclosures as paranoia to undermine my credibility and silence testimony. And it correlated directly with what happened on May 7, 2025, when I disclosed hacking concerns and the pattern of fireworks being set off whenever I communicated with DePaul staff. Seminar professor Daniela Meyer responded, "As far as hacking, fireworks issue, that must be very stressful and anxiety producing. Remember that DePaul offers free counseling if you feel it would help discussing what's been going on." It was the same tactic, redirecting documented interference and retaliation into a mental health narrative. It was reputational containment, not protection. Scammers. Once we realized we were hacked, my grandma called Norton Virus for help on October 28th, 2024. Her call was intercepted by Empist. My grandma handed the phone to my mom, who was then coerced into downloading UltraViewer onto her laptop at 12:48 p.m. They tried to scam my mom out of $9,000, telling her to buy gift cards from Home Depot, a store she had just visited for Halloween decorations on October 9th, 2024 at 11:08 a.m. That wasn't random. It was symbolic. They said $9,000 because we believe the number 9 references the first 9 adult family members who knew about this crime. On social media, there is also reference to the number 8. It flip-flops between 8 to 9 family members, although we know there are way more family members participating. The numbers weren't accidental. They matched the same family-based signaling we were already seeing online. This is numerical signaling, it is psychological warfare, it is coordinated targeting. The scammers also mentioned the dark web. They claimed to be working with the FBI. They asked her to open all her account information to check for charges. They tried to trick her. They want to drain her finances. T-Mobile, fireworks, auto replies, social media mirroring, and family timeline correlations. On June 25th, 2025, my mom emailed Mike Severt, the CEO of T-Mobile, with an urgent formal complaint regarding multiple serious issues that we have experienced with T-Mobile services, including a breach of contract which has led to cybersecurity vulnerabilities leading to unauthorized access, cyberstalking, sexual harassment, hacking, safety issues, and ongoing harassment. The CEO never responded to her but provided 2 leads, Elise Rivas and Nikia Wills. So here is where more red flags emerged every time she reported the hacking or asked T-Mobile to explain contradictions. Something immediately happened that mirrored her activity. Auto replies sent at impossible moments, emails from unrelated institutions arriving at the exact same minute as T-Mobile messages, calls being forwarded to outside parties, and her email timestamp being changed to 6:35, followed minutes later by DePaul University emailing me about someone retiring after 35 years. On June 18th, 2025, my mom received a Walmart delivery with the large number 13 written on the box. And that same morning at 8:29 a.m., when she emailed Elise Rivas, she received an auto reply referencing June 13th, even though Elise had just introduced herself the night before on June 17th at 6:03 p.m., saying she was available Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. PST. The exact same pattern happened with the next executive, Nakia Wills, introduced herself on June 19th, 2025 at 1:41 p.m. and the very next day, June 20th, 2025 at 5:19 p.m., she suddenly had an auto reply claiming she was out of the office, even though she had emailed my mom earlier that same morning at 11:26 a.m. and at 5:07 p.m. on June 20th. Just 12 minutes before Nakia's auto reply, Copa emailed my mom saying all her police complaints were being transferred to BIA, perfectly matching the same minute level timing pattern. Multiple institutions mirrored this behavior, and the day after my mom realized she was hacked, the billing manager sent out an email where T-Mobile was referenced, and this took place at 11:35 a.m., containing the same 1 and 3 harassment numbers we had already been documenting. It was psychological signaling. All while T-Mobile kept changing its story about call routing, denied unauthorized access, even though Apple confirmed a hacker. Yes, that's right. Triana with Apple confirmed our cell phones were hacked. T-Mobile then abruptly declared final correspondence, while the interference and harassment escalated in real time. And even after they claimed to have investigated, the hacking never stopped for a single day. What does that tell you? It tells you that T-Mobile was aware and complicit. The hackers continued harassment nonstop, and that is a red flag. On June 26, after my mom asked for explanations about the auto reply timing and the Walmart number 13 package, T-Mobile sent her a message stating, "This will be our final correspondence." This was before they answered her questions, before the investigation was complete, and while new incidents were still occurring. After that, they stopped responding entirely. She sent follow-ups on June 30th, July 1st, July 3rd, and July 7th. No response. At my mom's former workplace, the office manager's behavior correlated directly with someone from my own past, Hannah, a girl I went to Mother McCauley High School with. Hannah is the one who sent me a TikTok of Donkey with Shakira, which depicted a doll suspended in the air with a rope around its neck, swinging in circles. The very next day, our friendship ended. In her Instagram exchange, she was writing to a girl named Susie Cobbs, and one of the partners at my mom's former workplace is Susan Gunty, a connection that immediately stood out. On July 22nd, 2024, a new law clerk started at my mom's job whose resume said he was a manager at a fireworks store and a former president of anti-bullying, which was strange because fireworks had already been used as harassment at our home, and my mom was the supervising law clerk. And on August 7, 2024, the office manager, Kathy Bickelhaupt, emailed my mom saying, "Please be sure you set an auto response so everyone knows you are not working," even though my mom never used auto replies. At the same time, I checked social media and saw Hannah mirroring my mom's work life. On July 28th, 2024, Hannah posted, "Hannah is out of the office right now and will reply in a timely manner when she arrives back," followed by, "I'm sorry, this is Hannah's secretary. Would you like me to give her a message?" And then, "I'm a new worker here. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a good job. I'm gonna have to block you to keep it. I can't let Hannah fire me." The timing, the themes, the language, and the behavior all matched what was happening at my mom's workplace. The same auto-reply pattern, the same workplace mirroring, the same symbolic harassment, and the same social media mirroring of real-life events. We also need to document the deeper timeline behind all of this. We believe my mom was hacked on May 17th, 2010, and that Susan Gunty may have been the partner who received a phone call that set everything in motion, possibly from Eric Brazo, the husband of my mom's half-sister, Renee Brazo. We want to be clear that we never met Eric or spoke with him. We are simply documenting the timing. Eric worked in high-level risk and fraud management roles that naturally place someone in professional circles with executives, vendors, and people with authority. In 2016, our family experienced a major shift when Renee disappeared from communication, and we have not heard from her since. We believe my hacking date was May 12, 2016, and exactly 1 year later on May 12, 2017, the IT vendor Empist revamped their systems at my mom's former workplace, marking the 1 year point. The timing of Renee's disappearance, Eric's professional background, the workplace events, and the mirrored online behavior all became additional puzzle pieces in understanding the larger pattern surrounding my mom and I. On October 5th, 2025, Tommy Scott, who is part of a fraternity and attends the University of Missouri, posted photos and wrote, "Let 'em know." In the comments section, Eric Kremer replied, started from the bottom, now we hear. What stood out to us about his comment was the fact that his name is Eric, the same name as Eric Brazo, Renee's husband. The phrase started from the bottom, now we hear also caught our attention because of how closely it mirrors what we believed happened. A crime that began and then expanded, escalated, and grew over time. Then there's the Chicago Public Library. On May 7, 2025, my mom made an initial complaint to the Chicago Public Library after discovering the computers she was using were hacked. The response from Tamela Chambers, District 5, Chief of the South District Office, immediately showed a clear pattern of negligence. There was no IT contact, no internal investigation, no escalation, and no acknowledgement of the digital safety risks inside their own system. Then the auto replies began. On June 24, 2025 at 9:59 p.m., my mom emailed Tamela Chambers and received an auto reply dated December 31, 2024 through January 2, 2025, a winter holiday message sent in the middle of summer. On Wednesday, June 25, 2025, she emailed again and did not receive any auto reply at all. Then, on June 27, 2025 at 9:30 a.m., she emailed Tamela a third time and received a completely different auto reply saying she was out of the office for June 23rd through the 27th, 2025, returning June 30th. 3 different outcomes in 3 days, a winter holiday message, no auto reply, and a summer vacation message. All from the same person, all in the same week, and still no response, no accountability, and no action taken. On April 28th, 2025, my mom filed a complaint with the EEOC. When my mom followed up with the EEOC about her case, the communication pattern matched everything we had already seen with T-Mobile, COPA, and the Chicago Public Library. And the EEOC did the exact same thing T-Mobile did. They issued a final response prematurely. The correspondence came from someone outside Chicago, instead of the Chicago District Director responding. The January 23rd, 2026 letter was sent by an area office director in Minneapolis, a person who had never been involved in the case and who is not part of the Chicago office handling the charge. This mirrored T-Mobile's premature final correspondence almost exactly. A sudden shutdown, no answers to the questions raised, and a final decision issued by someone who wasn't even in the correct jurisdiction. Instead of receiving clear answers or a written response, she kept getting contradictory out-of-office messages that didn't match the dates she emailed. On January 21st, 2026, the district director's auto reply simply said they were out of the office today, with no return date and no acknowledgement of her follow-up. Then on February 9th, 2026, she received a second auto reply saying the district director was out on January 30th, 2026, a date that was already 10 days in the past. Both messages redirected her to another staff member but never addressed her questions, never confirmed receipt of her follow-ups, and never provided the written response she repeatedly requested. For a federal agency handling legal deadlines, these mismatched timestamps and non-answers formed the same pattern we had already documented across multiple institutions: contradictions, deflections, and no accountability. Beyond the auto replies, the EOC left multiple critical issues unresolved, all of which required written explanation and none of which were ever answered. These included why the January 9th, 2026 letter was uploaded to the portal 2 weeks late, why the January 23rd, 2026 letter is still missing from the portal, why correspondence was issued by an area office director in Minneapolis instead of the Chicago district director, why the district director never responded or was copied to any communication, why none of the issues raised in previous correspondence were addressed, why my mom was blocked from uploading documents in her own case file, why the January 23rd correspondence was labeled final response and who authorized that designation, why she was never formally notified that Jovan Gathings was the assigned investigator, why the December 23rd, 2025 EEOC confirmations instructed her to upload documents and expect investigator contact, yet she was later blocked from uploading and never contacted. These are not small clerical errors. They are procedural failures that directly affected the accuracy of her case file, her ability to submit evidence, and her right to receive a written response. Combined with the mismatched auto replies, the missing documents, and the lack of investigator contact, the EEOC's handling of her case followed the same pattern we had already seen across multiple institutions: contradictions, silence, delays, missing records, and no accountability. Rental Cars Gone Wrong in Homewood Suites by Hilton: What Really Happened. Watch my video, Rental Cars Gone Wrong in Homewood Suites by Hilton: What Really Happened, for full documentation of these incidents. These videos show the same pattern my mom and I have been experiencing across multiple Priceline booked rentals and hotel stays: irregularities at the counter, unexplained digital activity inside vehicles, 2 encounters with the police within a week, and repeated employee misconduct at Chicago Midway Airport and at the hotel in Orland Park. Across every Priceline reservation, Dollar, National, Budget, the hotel stay, and Priceline itself, we have experienced a consistent pattern of irregularities, safety concerns, unexplained digital behavior, employee misconduct, violations of our civil rights, and actions that are leading to criminal concerns as our safety is being jeopardized. Conversations that took place inside rental vehicles are known to others. Our movements were mirrored in real time, and telematic systems activated without our consent. These incidents raise serious concerns about surveillance, tracking, and audio monitoring occurring inside multiple rental vehicles. It is also important to note that earlier rentals may have involved similar monitoring before we fully understood what was happening. Now, something extremely important that the public is not being told, something that budget employees are handing out to customers every single day without any verbal disclosure. My mom just discovered this, and although she made several complaints regarding these issues, all employees remained silent. Budget's own written policy confirms that some of their rental vehicles are equipped to capture camera images inside the vehicle and record audio from inside the cabin. This is not speculation, this is not hidden, it is written directly in their terms. Their policy states that certain vehicles may capture camera images inside and outside the vehicle, audio recordings, detailed driving behavior, real-time location, acceleration, braking, speed and movement, fuel level, tire pressure, and diagnostics. They also state that they cannot guarantee that a vehicle without these surveillance features will be available. That means customers have no choice. You may be placed in a vehicle that is recording you without your knowledge. Budget further states that this data may be transmitted to Budget, third-party providers, the vehicle manufacturer, and in corporate rentals, even the employer. This means that interior images, audio, and real-time movements may be shared with multiple outside entities. The public is not being told this at the counter. Employees are handing out these vehicles without explaining that the car may be recording inside the cabin, capturing conversations, and transmitting that data to multiple parties. This is a major privacy issue, and it directly connects to the patterns we've documented across multiple rental companies, including digital interference, suspicious timing of notifications, and outside parties knowing information they should not have access to. Budget's own policy confirms that interior cameras and audio recording capabilities exist, and that renters cannot opt out. This needs to be part of the public record. Employees are silent when we ask questions, they refuse to engage, and they never disclosed any of this to us. Not verbally, not in writing. Even when we ask directly. And if you want to see it for yourself, every email is posted on my Linktree. Read them yourself. We have reason to believe that employees are allowing the public to have access to our location, our private conversations, and images without our consent. Investigate and this will come out. Better Business Bureau. We also filed Better Business Bureau complaints against both Dollar Car Rental and Priceline, and the same issues appeared there: inconsistent responses, contradictory explanations, missing documentation, silence, and a lack of accountability. The BBB complaints reflected the same behavior we experienced at the counters: employees refusing to answer direct questions, providing conflicting information, and failing to resolve the issues. In our other Priceline complaint regarding Dollar Car Rental, we documented that on January 31st, 2026, my mom had to call the police after Dollar denied her prepaid reservation. A police officer named Luna responded to the call. Officer Luna told my mom to get another car rental and refused to take a police report. My mom had already prepaid for her reservation, and this officer expected her to somehow find another vehicle last minute, pay more money, and hope a car was available. My mom has been renting vehicles because our safety is being compromised, and instead of receiving help, she was dismissed and denied the ability to document what happened. Then 6 days later, on February 6, 2026, on our way to the Homewood Suites Hotel, I received a manipulated email referencing the name Luna. Sure enough, that same day, the hotel did not give us the room my mom paid for, and instead we received a downgraded room. The staff then asked the police to remove us from the hotel. The police arrived at our hotel door at 9:13 p.m. and the sergeant arrived 5 minutes later. Our civil rights were violated. There was no valid reason to remove us. Watch the video for more details. The overlap in timing and the repetition of the same name added the broader pattern we have been documenting. On February 6, 2026, Priceline emailed my mom regarding the Dollar rental incident, where Dollar Rent-A-Car refused to honor the prepaid reservation and forced her to rent 2 additional vehicles at the last minute, resulting in significant higher costs. In that email, Priceline acknowledged the situation and stated, "We regret the inconvenience this has caused you and would be happy to reimburse you for the additional expense." They then listed the conditions required for reimbursement. The replacement rental had to match the exact car classification of the original reservation and the exact number of rental days. This written promise from Priceline is important because it confirms that Dollar's refusal to uphold the prepaid agreement directly caused financial harm, and Priceline formally agreed to reimburse the additional expenses created by Dollar's actions. After receiving Priceline's written promise to reimburse the additional rental car expenses, my mom submitted all required documentation through the official Priceline portal, emailed the same information directly to Priceline staff, and followed up multiple times. Despite this, Dollar later retracted her reimbursement promise, and Priceline's responses became contradictory. On February 7, 2026, a Priceline employee named Jennifer emailed my mom claiming, "However, it does not contain any text of your concern. Please provide a more detailed description of your issue." This made no sense because my mom had already received an automated confirmation listing all the documents she uploaded. Then on February 11, 2026, another Priceline employee, Chris, wrote, "Our records indicate that your reservation was canceled on February 6, 2026, and a full refund of $902.81 USD was issued. We are unable to open a formal investigation." This directly contradicted Priceline's earlier written response to reimburse the additional expenses caused by Dollar's refusal to honor the reservation. On my Linktree, we have numerous emails documenting employee misconduct by both Priceline staff and employees at Chicago Midway Airport, showing a clear pattern of contradictory statements, retractions, and avoidance. My mom demanded corporate review across each company, and she was met with no response or outright dismissal of her complaints. A federal investigation will uncover why, and all employees involved need to be held accountable. The same goes for the Green Mill Village Hotel in Illinois. Watch my video as I documented employee misconduct, same result, silence, correlations, and no accountability. Sergeant Michael Walsh, number 885, Unit 051, Airport Operations South, Michael Hohenadel, Copa, Mary Costello, Bureau of Internal Affairs, Sergeant Keisha Frierson, Bureau of Internal Affairs, Sergeant Tolley, number 1090, 8th District, 2nd Watch, TransUnion 2 Baldwin, PL, Barclay Card. On February 19, 2026, my mom sent a formal complaint letter to COPA. This complaint was against Officer Luna regarding the incident at Dollar Rent-A-Car at Chicago Midway Airport on January 31st, 2026. There was a second officer with him, and she is also requesting that this officer be identified. On February 27, 2026, COPA sent correspondence to my mom and read, "The Civilian Office of Police Accountability, COPA, has determined that the complaint submitted to our office does not fall within our investigatory jurisdiction. Therefore, your complaint and all information gathered with respect to the incident have been referred to the Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs, BIA, for investigation." My mom responded to COPA the same day, and she wrote, "I am requesting clarification on the following: whether BIA will be contacting me directly regarding this investigation, the expected time frame in which BIA typically makes initial contact after a referral from COPA, confirmation that BIA has received my complaint and all associated documentation. These points were not addressed in your letter and are required for my records." No response was made to these questions. On March 2nd, 2026, and on March 3rd, my mom received correspondence from Sergeant Michael Walsh. He instructed my mom to meet with him in order to conduct a complete and thorough investigation. He said he is the accountability sergeant assigned to Midway Airport. He also said that it is the policy of the Chicago Police Department, BIA, to review cases and refer some cases to the accountability sergeant in the district or unit of occurrence for investigation. If you would like to proceed with this investigation, please contact me so that we can discuss a good time to go forward with an interview. On March 2nd, 3rd, and the 5th, my mom sent written requests to Sergeant Michael Walsh from Airport Operations South, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, COPA, and the Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs, BIA. She asked for basic procedural information about her complaint number, things like who the assigned investigator is, when the complaint was forwarded, who authorized to contact, and why an airport operations sergeant was involved in an internal affairs matter. None of those questions were answered by the BIA or COPA. On March 5th, 2026, Michael Hohenadel, a supervisor in COPA's video release and transparency unit, misclassified my mom's email as a FOIA request, even though she never submitted a FOIA request. He closed it without addressing any of the procedural questions. On March 6, 2026, Mary Costello from BIA confirmed only one thing. She is not assigned to investigate log number and does not have access to any information on that case. My mom responded the same day and asked Mary Costello to identify the BIA unit, supervisor, or investigator who is assigned to log number, or confirm which BIA office is responsible for handling this matter. She did not reply. Then on March 7, 2026, two major things happened. First, my mom's Barclay credit card suddenly declined. Overnight, her available credit was reduced by about $7,000, just 2 days before she is scheduled to pick up a rental car on March 9th, 2026. When she checked online to see what happened, the notice referenced TransUnion and the address listed was 2 Baldwin, PL. Out of all 3 credit bureaus, it came specifically from TransUnion, and we have documented references involving the names Baldwin, Gay, and Gender change before. The timing of all this needs to be investigated. Only $3 was left for available purchases. We have documented the number 3 as harassment throughout our documentation. My mom did not receive a letter from Barclay Card regarding this change. Second, my mom received a letter in the mail postmarked March 5th, 2026 from the Bureau of Internal Affairs. It says her complaint has been further assigned for investigation and that any questions should be directed to Sergeant Kesha Frierson. Meanwhile, COPA, BIA, Sergeant Walsh, Michael Hohenadel, and Mary Costello continue refusing to answer procedural questions in writing. They avoid my mom's emails entirely, and we still have no explanation for why a sergeant from airport operations contacted my mom about an internal affairs matter in the first place. All of this, the timing of the BIA letter, the lack of written communication, the unanswered procedural questions, the prior history with Sergeant Frierson, and the sudden TransUnion-related credit reduction is now part of the documented record. I need to document that in 2025, my mom and I filed a complaint involving Sergeant Tolley, and during that process, Sergeant Frierson called my mom once, left a voicemail, and never returned any of my mom's follow-up calls, even though my mom called several times and left multiple voicemails. Now, my mom is again directed to contact her for any additional questions or information. The complaints made against Sergeant Tolley needs to be investigated, along with Mary Costello with the BIA needs to be investigated, COPA, and the 8th District Police Station. Let's just say history keeps repeating itself. Complaint submitted February 18th, 2026 via FedEx. On February 18th, 2026, my mom made a formal complaint and requested an internal investigation on Officer Rafferty, number 794, Muhammad, number 773, and Sergeant Walsh, number 114, with the Orland Park Police Station. On February 24th, 2026, Lieutenant Carrie Kelly Vallon sent correspondence to my mom that read, "I am writing to confirm that I have received your letter and will be conducting the internal investigation. I will contact you if and when additional information is needed. If you need to reach me in the meantime, please feel free to use the contact information provided below." On February 25th, 2026, my mom wrote, "I received your response dated February 24, 2026 at 9:11 a.m. Please proceed with forwarding my complaint to the appropriate internal and supervisory channels. I have submitted extensive correspondence outlining the issue, and I expect this investigation to be handled at the proper level. No case number was assigned to this matter, and this must be corrected for tracking and documentation purposes. All correspondence related to this matter will be shared with the public and used in future litigation." To sum this up, on March 6, 2026, my mom sent her third written response to Lieutenant Carrie Kelly Vallon regarding internal investigation case. This communication followed her original complaint, which was formally submitted in a letter dated February 18, 2026, and sent via FedEx. That letter, along with an attached Exhibit A, contained detailed allegations and timeline, and the department already has it on file. My mom also sent a copy of this police misconduct complaint to Homewood Suites by Hilton Orland Park and to Priceline. She directed Homewood Suites and Priceline to forward all documentation to corporate. My mom has been met with continued silence and no acknowledgement. March 6, 2026, correspondence to Lieutenant Carrie Kelly Vallon consisted of clarifying that her questions were not demands, but standard procedural questions that must be answered in writing before she could provide any evidence. She stated that she cannot participate in an unrecorded in-person meeting and that all communication must remain in writing for transparency and documentation. She requested written confirmation of 3 basic items: whether the department preserved its own evidence, including body-worn camera footage, dispatch audio, CAD logs, in-car video, and officer reports; how her evidence will be stored, logged, and accessed once submitted; the date the case was opened, and whether any personnel handled the complaint before it was assigned to her. These are foundational chain of custody questions that protect both sides and ensure the integrity of the investigation. My mom also reiterated that she already has her full written complaint from February 18th and that the only outstanding issues relate to procedural handling and evidence preservation, not the content of the complaint. Now let's dive deeper into why this is all happening. The American Psycho meme, a warning hidden in plain sight. This is a warning based on what my family and I have lived through. These are people who exploit children, violate your rights, deprive you of your freedom, steal your money, and work to destroy families. And many of them are people you would never expect. What happened to us will begin happening to others, which is why the public needs to know, and we will make sure this information gets out. On November 10th, 2023 at 9:25 a.m., a former coworker of my mom named Esther posted a meme in a group chat with 5 people. My mom told me she thought it was strange that she was even added to the group chat. She said she knew it was done on purpose. In that chat, David, a former coworker and an attorney at the firm, replied, "Do you know where that meme comes from? Esther." Then a coworker named Cecilia responded, "American Psycho, LOL. Watch my video, A Crime Built on Biblical References." Esther's name was misspelled. Instead of Esther, David typed Esther. My mom felt this was done purposely to resemble the word Easter. This stood out to us because after this, at DePaul University, a teaching assistant named Gia asked our anatomy and physiology class to go around and share a book or movie they liked. One student said he was reading American Psycho. I have observed social media references to the film American Psycho posted by accounts belonging to students I recognize or their followers. Posts also include statements such as "hurt them bad," "you will lose everything," "homelessness," "jobless," and symbolic references to the 8-ball. At home, we received tons of bags of chicken sticks for our dogs. My grandparents would order these, but someone was sending tons of bags to our house for free. When we started to pick up on themes of violence, we realized this message was interpreted as chick on a stick. Even Ted Bundy's reputation as a psychopath who fixated on violent imagery made the chick on the stick pattern feel even more disturbing in hindsight. As I continued reviewing old messages from my high school group chat and my mom was going through her own text messages, we noticed references that connected back to repeated themes. When we started to piece details together, these themes were telling a story of torture and murder. In my group chat from high school, I never really paid attention or even read the messages that were written. I was mostly silent. But now that I've been going back through it, I noticed repeated words and themes that are startling. This is where I realized the patterns and the messages in the group chat were intentional. This, combined with what classmates and their followers were posting on social media, has enabled my mom and I to put together a crime against us and her parents. So let's begin. In my Mother Macaulay high school group chat, there were many references to decapitation and the guillotine. That's why the chick on a stick connects. My mom and I were also able to put together more information when we looked back at the screenshot that my mom's brother Mike sent to her back in 2022. Mike sent a screenshot to my mom of his profile views from Facebook back in 2022, which exposed puzzle pieces of the crime being planned. On January 22nd, 2022, 6:57 a.m., my mom sent Mike a text that her car alarm went off around 6:30 a.m. that morning. She wrote that she thinks someone was trying to steal it because you have to put force for the alarm to go off. At 7:53 a.m., Mike replied with a screenshot of his Facebook account. Mike wrote in a text to my mom regarding his Facebook account. Those people who looked me up. See Ruben's name. Ruben Jimenez appears as number 5 in the screenshot. Above his profile is a profile named Wani Gillen. We have reason to believe the screenshot was manipulated on purpose by the hackers. Wani for the number 1, Ruben Jimenez started this crime, and Gillen for reference to the guillotine. The murder was planned to be filmed and it was supposed to take place on December 26, 2025, before I turned 21 years old. We also get harassed with the number 5. In our interpretation, the number 5 could symbolize several things. A 5-year span from 2021 to 2026, 5 days left in December, or the 5 mysteries of the rosary. Under Ruben Jimenez's name is another account named Dan Wood. I believe the word wood was a plan to take me into the woods, or it's because the house in Michigan that my grandma owns is near the woods. That is where they wanted the crime to take place. Underneath this profile is an account with the name Kimberly Ann. Is Ann referring to my mom, Angelique? Note that MPES manipulates images so the names appear in a specific order. This does not mean that these accounts or any real names shown in the screenshot are part of the actual crime. The Kimberly Ann profile picture is that of the Packers football. Why does the reference to football keep coming up? On the top of the screenshot is that of a bell with the number 31. 31 is a number we are harassed with. My mom's first day at Gunty and McCarthy was October 31st, 2007. Why are we harassed with the numbers 3 and 1? The battery percentage is 28%. We have reason to believe that Ruben Jimenez, aka Jr., started this crime when my mom was 28 years old, I was 2 years old, and my brother was 7 years old. I want to add that we believe my mom was hacked on May 17th, 2010, and I was hacked on May 12th, 2016. I was only 5 years old in 2010. That's how we came up with being surveillanced for over 15 years. If this crime started when I was 2 years old, then this crime has been going on for almost 19 years. Watch my Puzzle Pieces testimony for more information on how children and adults were utilized to put this crime in motion. Now let's look at my high school group chat. In this video, I will be sharing certain parts of text messages, but not every message in full. The volume is too much. I'm working on putting that information on my Linktree so people can see the full context for themselves. This video doesn't tell every story or every detail because this has been happening for the majority of my life. My entire life has been shaped and controlled in ways I'm still uncovering. The public needs to understand how serious these issues are, especially when it comes to protecting children. An investigation needs to take place so that this crime will be stopped and accountability can finally happen. My mom and I do not want to see this happen to anyone else. My high school group chat consisted of myself, Hannah, Claire, and Kiara. Let's dive in. On March 5th, 2021, Claire from my high school Mother Macaulay group chat wrote, "We were talking about how when they killed their enemies, they decapitated them and played with their heads." Hannah wrote, "The guillotine is so interesting to me." On March 29th, 2021, Kiara wrote, "She's talking about decapitation." Kiara wrote, "Off with their heads, 4 crying emojis." Is the 4 emojis referencing me, my mom, grandma, and grandpa? Claire, LMAO, what is she? The Queen of Hearts? Kiara, she's the Queen of Hearts in disguise. Kiara then posts this photo. In the photo, at the top right corner of the Zoom screen, there is a person named Dianara. Is that code for sayonara? Kiara wrote, "Not the guillotine." Watch my video, Puzzle Pieces Testimony, referencing the name Gil and Gillen in more detail. On April 21, 2021, Claire wrote, "I think I am busy the 8th because my mom and I usually plant flowers Mother's Day weekend." Kiara, "When's Mother's Day?" Hannah, "May 9th. I can't wait for Mother's Day." Claire, "I love planting flowers." Kiara, 28%. Let's break this down. The number 21 keeps resurfacing. In the above mentioned text, Claire wrote on the 21st in the year 2021. Mother's Day is mentioned. The number is 28%. The 28% also matches the screenshot my mom's brother Mike sent her, which also has 28% on it. This is the age of my mom when we believe the plan was starting in 2007. Claire mentions, "I love planting flowers." We keep seeing references to flowers. The hackers like to link flowers to Nancy, Raymond's wife. Raymond would say that Nancy likes to plant flowers. We have reason to believe that the references to flowers are to symbolize death. On Thanksgiving in 2023, my mom's brother Raymond gave me a gift, which is a pyramid that says Chichen Itza, Was chicken a clever way for us to pick up on the chicken sticks? He handed this to me at the table, and he did not hand anything to my brother. On a social media account, one of my classmates from high school posted Earth Day photos, and one was of a pyramid. I noticed her posts were directed at me, so I started paying attention. Online, I noticed people I went to school with started writing the word chicken in their comment sections on social media. I noticed this around Christmas 2023. On March 15th, 2021, Kiara wrote in the high school group chat, "I don't want to hear witches and beheading. Hannah, violence is reality key. Kiara, I'm done. He killed the chicken, killed. Rest in peace, chicken. He twisted the chicken's neck. The chicken did not have to die. He literally stole someone's chicken. Now he is being beframed. The guy didn't kill his father. Kiara, I'm watching a show, or was. Class started, so I stopped. I'm on episode 1. Hannah, what show? Kiara, ceramic." On October 29th, 2023, Hannah, who is in my high school group chat, posted photos on Instagram in which she was matching outfits with 2 other people and captioned them, "Just keep on rolling, baby." In a separate photo from the same day, she is wearing boxing gloves. On May 10th, 2023, Emily Lovato, someone I was friends with during childhood, posted photos on Instagram. In one of the photos, she and her boyfriend, Colin Meese, are wearing pumpkins on their heads. In the picture, Colin is holding the stem of the pumpkin that Emily is wearing. This is the same person who also posted a photo of herself licking a hammer and used it as her profile picture on a separate account. I also remember that when we were little, Emily told my mom, my grandma, and me that her stepfather, Steve, would show her videos of chickens having their heads cut off and that he thought it was funny to watch. On September 6, 2023, Ellie Bickelhopt, the daughter of my mom's former office manager, posted photos with the caption, "Bickelhopts to California." In one of the photos, Ellie and her brother Edmund are posing next to an animal's head and are holding its horns. On September 6, 2022, Lena Webb, a classmate from Mother Macaulay, posted photos on Instagram and wrote, "Last year on 99th Street, 2 crying cat emojis, at the Adam Covey best photographer duo ever. Check them out." In one of the photos, she is sticking her head out. She uses the word photographer and the word duo in her caption purposely. Lena Webb also used the word duo again on April 29th, 2023. In the caption, she wrote, "Your fave duo at prom." Why did Lena repeatedly reference the word duo? My mom had deleted her Duo mobile app in late October 2024 when she originally thought it was connected to the hacking. So the word stood out. And Lena wasn't the only one. I began seeing the word duo on other social media accounts as well. There's more to this, and an investigation will bring it out. I believe these images and Hannah's caption, "Just keep on rolling, baby," are meant to resemble the guillotine. Classmates repeatedly referenced decapitation, beheading, guillotines, off with their heads, the Queen of Hearts, witchcraft, pentagrams, and mocked Jesus. This was not normal behavior, especially coming from students at an all-Catholic high school. These weren't isolated comments, they became habitual in our conversations, which is why they stood out. Around my junior year at Mother Macaulay High School, Jeremy Harris, an attorney from the firm where my mom had previously worked, initiated contact with Myers and Flowers, a law firm regarding potential representation for my mom. My mom kept talking to Jeremy about the bullying I was experiencing at school, so he made the call that was then transferred to my mom. My mom described my experience as one of persistent bullying and harassment during my minority, with indications that school officials have failed to intervene. At the time, we had not yet uncovered the broader pattern of institutional retaliation or multi-agency concealment that would later emerge. The law firm ultimately declined to take the case, issuing a formal letter embedded within a follow-up email. During the call, my mom recalls the office manager entering her office and lingering in a way that felt intrusive, as if attempting to overhear the conversation. The email containing the firm's rationale was originally received and accessible, but in 2024, following the confirmed theft of my mom's Gmail account, it was permanently lost as part of a broader pattern of digital compromise. As a result, we no longer possess the firm's stated rationale for declining representation. The Butcher. On March 17th, 2021, Claire wrote, "Happy St. Patrick's Day to you too. I'll be listening to my go-to Irish band all day." She then sent a link to the Saw Doctors. Claire, yes, my grandma loved their music. Claire then sent a second song by the Saw Doctors, Green and Red of Mayo. Claire, she especially loved this song, and this one since they talk about where she grew up. She then sent another song by the Saw Doctors for a total of 3. Claire, I Island. Claire, yes, Dad's listening to them now. Okay, so she said my grandma loved their music, mentions Green and Red of Mayo, saw doctors, Claire Island, my dad's listening to them now. It feels like very odd text messages. My grandma told me a story about her mom's twin sister named Clara. Clara had a procedure done and later died of cancer. My grandma blames the person who did the procedure and references him as a butcher. My grandma also told me that Clara was in love with a Jewish man. Clara was also a twin. Later, I began noticing twin references, Jewish references, and other comments that echoed parts of my family's history. I'm sharing this because these parallels stood out to me. Excerpt taken from my video titled 93 Pages of Truth, Trauma, and Tactical Exposure. On September 10, 2025, Professor Nedgel referenced the Roman numeral 5 and used a family member's name, Reuben, as a patient. She repeated this again on September 15th and September 22nd, 2025, 3 times, and the number 3 itself is used as harassment. She said his name was Mr. Reuben V. She said he smokes, is Hispanic, has 2 adult children, and is a butcher. She described my father. Now, here I want to add that although he's not a butcher, they know what he wants to do. She knew, and she placed that information on page 9 of the first slideshow. The number 9 wasn't random. It's a reference to the 9 family members. They interchangeably reference the number 8 or the number 9 regarding family members. However, there are many more family members participating. This wasn't education. It was symbolic warfare. On September 22nd, 2025 at 10:47 a.m., Professor Nedgel did another Reuben V case study. After she mentioned Reuben V, a nursing student named Xavier screamed out the name Reuben. This is a continued correlation. My family members' names are mentioned in class and a student purposely repeats them. They don't do this for any other names. On October 6, 2025, Professor Nedgel referenced the number 5 again. She said the patient's name was Susan, Reuben's wife. Susan is the name of one of the partners at my mom's previous workplace. That same day, October 6, 2025, I received an illegal letter of dismissal from DePaul University. The timing was not a coincidence. It was a coordinated act of retaliation layered with symbolic references to my family, my mom's workplace, and my father's absence. DePaul was connecting my school, my family, my mom's workplace. This isn't a coincidence. This is correlation. This is targeting. On March 18th, 2021, in my high school group chat, Claire wrote, and my parents were 19 when they met my uncle Jim, who's the youngest, was like 12 or 13. So my dad has known my 2 or 3 uncles longer than 30 years. I know, right? So he remembers teenage them. So weird to think. I believe that Claire stating that her dad has known her 2 or 3 uncles for over 30 years was in reference to my dad secretly having a relationship with my 3 uncles. Also, the name James is the name of 2 partners at my mom's former workplace. Twin references. On April 29th, 2021, Hannah wrote in our group chat, I was born at 8/21. I'm officially 16. Claire, oh my gosh, I was born at that time too. Hannah, and in the morning? Claire, yes. Hannah, stop. That's crazy. At Mother McCauley High School, there was one set of twins and they were nicknamed the Twin Towers. Staff, teachers, classmates all referenced them as the Twin Towers. On September 3rd, 2025, in the downstairs lobby of the federal building, my mom told the officer she would hand over both our licenses. Despite this clear statement, the officer looked directly at me and asked, are you a minor? It made no procedural sense. It was a mockery of our complaint. He knew who we were. It didn't feel like confusion. It felt like performance. On September 5th, 2025, in the same lobby, an employee took both licenses and theatrically called us twins. He stared at us like we were famous. Later, near our home, while walking our dogs, 2 small children approached. They asked if we were twins. One wore a New York sweater, a deliberate signal. She pulled out a CTA card mirroring our exact transit route to the federal building. They claimed to have telepathy, repeating answers in sync on the count of 3. It felt like a scripted performance. With September 11th approaching, the message felt unmistakable to me. A symbolic threat, like you will be destroyed like the Twin Towers. The reference to twins wasn't innocent. It felt like predictive retaliation, especially given the timing and the references I had already documented, involving judges, NDAs, and bribe acceptance. These girls were older than I was when I was first exploited. Their presence symbolized grooming, not just what happened to me, but how easily their own family members could groom them and put them up to this staged performance. One of them called our dog a pig. The word wasn't about the dog, it was about the system, how easily law enforcement and judicial actors are paid off to conceal child exploitation. This didn't feel like innocent play, it felt scripted, coordinated, and deliberate. On May 9th, 2023, I posted a photo on Snapchat. It was a picture of buildings that I had taken from my photography class and edited. Across Across the image, I wrote, "My masterpiece." On October 5th, 2024, Will Gailey from the University of Missouri, who is a part of a fraternity, posted photos. In his caption, he wrote, "I wrote this while 30,000 feet in the air. Hashtag Willie is my friend." In one of the photos, he and another boy are making a gun symbol with their hands. At the top of the photos, it says, "In the air." And he added a song called 200 for Lunch by Gunna to his post. In the comment section, Will Barker wrote, "This post is a masterpiece." At Tormina wrote, "Tastes like heaven, burns like hell, fire extinguisher emoji," and Tyler Aders commented with 2 clock emojis. I believe the masterpiece comment connects directly to my own image of the buildings labeled "My masterpiece." In the caption, "I wrote this while 30,000 feet in the air," along with the words "in the air" at the top of his photo appears to reference the Twin Tower symbolism we've been seeing. The fire extinguisher emoji also fits into the same pattern, reinforcing the imagery connected to fire and destruction. On October 5th, 2024, Tommy Scott from the University of Missouri, who is part of the same fraternity, posted photos. In the caption, he wrote, "Let him know." In the comment section, Connor Rott wrote, "My twin." On February 9th, 2020, in my high school group chat, Claire wrote, "My cousin Brendan, who is a freshman at Rice, is playing rugby. So now I have an excuse for going to Connor's games." Kiara, "Cool, Claire's twin is playing." On March 17th, 2021, Kiara wrote, "It was probs Claire's twin, Clyde. Around 2016 or so, my mom had a friend from high school named Colleen Tobin. Colleen Tobin accused my mom of having interest in a guy named Sean. Colleen claimed that she liked him, although my mom knew that was false. Around the same time, my mom talked to another person named Colleen Mulcahy, who was the mother of one of my brother's classmates named Kaylee. Colleen Mulcahy called up my mom one day and told her she was at Bourbon Street in Alsop and that she ran into Sean. She then began to tell my mom that Sean claimed to have kissed my mom. Colleen asked my mom if this was true. This wasn't true. Both Colleens knew Sean, but they didn't know each other. Both Colleens stopped talking to my mom at the same time. Colleen Tobin then told the people she knew that followed my mom on Facebook to unfollow her, which was odd for an adult to do. My mom recalls that Colleen Mulcahy emailed her inviting her to join an event. When my mom replied to her, she completely ignored her. My mom's half-sister did the same thing. They were writing emails to each other and then Renee stopped responding abruptly. The same issues were happening to my mom at her former workplace. With one particular coworker named Melissa Pizarro, they used to get along and then all of a sudden Melissa turned on her. She would make inappropriate comments towards my mom and her behavior changed drastically. On August 13th, 2024, I was approached by a male outside my home who asked for my number. I was not interested, but was trying to be polite. He told me his name was Sean. He told me he wanted to be a pilot. My mom recalls that when she was on Match.com a long time ago, a man told her he was a pilot, and he would not let her see his face. She said he always seemed to know when she went online, and that creeped her out. We have documented references to airplanes and flights. See my videos for further documentation. The repeated references to Pilate stood out to me because of the homophone with Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who presided over Jesus's trial. I documented this connection because it appeared alongside other biblical and symbolic references in my timeline. Another event that stood out at my mom's former workplace is that she recalls that she used to do race judicata through her former workplace. At the event, coworkers would attend to do a 5K and bring food. She remembers being introduced to someone named Renee. Renee told her she had a boyfriend named Eric. Renee's husband's name is Eric. Although it was many years ago, this particular person was repeating too many similarities with that of her half-sister Renee. My mom remembers it being very odd and too coincidental. Back to my high school group chat. On March 4th, 2021, Kiara was watching Barney and the 80 Dwarfs. Kiara wrote, "No, this lady killed Lady 2 daughter because the daughter of Lady 2 was the top student, but the lady was drunk. Oop, not the psycho husband." Kiara, "I hope this lady daughter heard her true colors." Rolling eye emoji. Bruh, not the crazy twin destroying her guitar. Bruh, why is other demonic child on my screen? She tried to kill the daughter with a hairpin. Claire, WTH are you watching? Kiara, and her mother killed her father because she was going to lose her job. Kiara, LMAO Logan, he's stupid. No. Why did you go without a mask on? Now he'll know your face. Kiara. LMAO, rest in peace, secretary. Kiara. This lady is a trash bin. She doesn't care at all about her daughter nor her mental state. Kiara. I hate this lady. Kiara. Why did this lady have to die? She was my favorite character. She didn't even die yet though, but still, I know that she dies. LMAO, Karma is a bish. She's going to have a bad panic attack. February 24th, 2020. Kiara wrote in our group chat about something she was watching and wrote, can someone please poison her or expel her or something? And he was driving the car that landed in the ocean. Claire. FBI reads Kiara's messages like, what is this girl on? Kiara. Oop, she attempted suicide. Oop, sleeping pills. Now I'm going to read a couple of messages from Instagram that stood out to me. December 24th, 2023, under Angela Galgano's account, DePaul University student, Champagne Hees wrote, at Alexia Coro, look like the feds undercover. Alexia Coro replied, takes one to know one. Angela replied to Alexia Coro, an eye emoji, mouth emoji, eye emoji. Teodora Evtimova wrote, at Champagne Hees, don't blow her cover. These comments were made right before a family member walked out on us after Christmas 2023. This event also correlated with the senior prank at Mother Macaulay High School. Right when this family member walked out on December 27th, 2023, we checked Cassidy Sullivan's Instagram account and screenshotted her photos that correlated with his walkout. In the comment section, Clara Lucas wrote, okay, superstar, and then wrote, you know where this is getting posted next. Wink emoji. On January 2nd, 2024, Cassidy posted photos on Instagram and wrote, by 2023, 2 middle finger emojis. Angela Galgano was a classmate of mine at DePaul University. I noticed her account because her profile picture was of Britney Spears. That is how I came across Champagne Hees. My mom had created a Snapchat account using the last name Spears. The only reason anyone knew about it was because hackers were spreading that information. They knew which accounts we were looking at, which enabled them to stage posts and direct them towards specific profiles. As I revisit these messages now, I am documenting the context. My mom had been working as a paralegal and was laid off. I was removed from DePaul University's nursing program, and there were repeated references to spies, family involvement, death, and psychopathy. Dream or nightmare. Sometime after 2017, my mom received an unexpected call from Melinda Coral, someone she knew in grammar school. Melinda asked my mom if she was okay. My mom responded yes, and then Melinda responded, I had a dream you died. My mom ended the call and there was no further contact. A former coworker by the name of Lori used the phrases bad dream and nightmare. My mom's brother Raymond also used those same words where the correlation between them was obvious. Watch my video titled Knock Knock, FBI Open Up. In this video, I documented how DePaul University, a family member, and a fake FBI agent correlated harassment. My mom also recalls receiving a phone call a very long time ago where the caller was moaning as if in the middle of a sexual act. My grandpa, not knowing that my mom had ever received a call like this, told us that he received a similar call of someone moaning in a sexual way. He even named a family member he believed was responsible. At 4:36 p.m. on March 4th, 2026, my mom documented that Empist is blocking her from using AI when putting all of this information together. Poison and fire. On February 26, 2021, Kiara wrote, my mom gets these poisonous drinks. Kiara sent a pic of 5 juiced drinks with the letter J on it. Kiara then wrote, only the first and third taste good to me. They are made with pure fruit. On March 5th, 2021, my group chat started talking about the book Purple Hibiscus. Kiara, wait, did Jaja kill the papa? Hannah, that book sounds so dark. Claire, we are in chapter 8. Kiara, Papa was slowly poisoned. Kiara, I hate this W history chapter. Kiara, she's talking about Columbus, the Spanish conquering Native Americans, and disease. Claire, we were talking about how when they killed their enemies, they decapitated them and played with their heads. Hannah, so were we. Bye. On March 29th, 2021, Kiara sent general information about Luke Patterson. The text says he died on July 22nd, 1995. And that his cause of death is food poisoning. On April 15, 2021, Kiara wrote a text regarding whether Mama killed Papa in self-defense or was it murder. She said, I'm just starting on the writing part, and it is due tomorrow. Eye emoji, mouth emoji, eye emoji. Claire, I asked my dad about it since he's a police officer and was an attorney. Yeah, my dad said there is no excuse for using poison, so it is first-degree murder, but if you acknowledge the abuse, it would be voluntary manslaughter. I was the other side though, Key. I wasn't the defense. Hannah, Papa is killed when y'all spoil the book. Claire, I didn't, LMAO, but that was a given. Kiara, I knew that from chapter 1. Ooh, Claire, same LMAO, I predicted it. Kiara, can I use this? Eye emoji, mouth emoji, eye emoji? Claire, well, you're defending that it was self-defense, so no. I was the other side, but you could use the abuse. Kiara, can Billy deserve her happy ending with Father Amadi? On April 15th, 2021, Kiara wrote, black tea and a poisonous cookie for breakfast. While I was in grammar school, my grandma ran into Michelle Barton, the mother of Emily Lovato and a nurse practitioner at St. John Fisher Church. I believe that during this time, Michelle and her family had already moved away, so my mom recalls thinking it was strange she was at that church. I went to grammar school at St. John Fisher. Michelle used to live in Evergreen Park, Illinois before she moved away. When my grandma ran into Michelle, I believe Michelle was pregnant at the time. I don't know if any of this story is true, but it is questionable, so I will mention it. My mom and I recall that my grandma came home and said that Michelle told her that her daughter Samantha had threatened to burn down the house. She also said that Sam was tired of her prescribing her meds to help solve her problems. Since Michelle is a nurse practitioner, the way Michelle described Sam's behavior raises serious questions. At my mom's former workplace, she recalls that a coworker named Estella told her that she was bullied as a child. She said that the girl who bullied her later in life died in a house fire with her 2 children. She said she deserved it. On March 23rd, 2021, in our group chat, Claire wrote, "Love this song," and sent a link to a song called Burn the House Down. On July 17th, 2024, Cassidy Sullivan posted photos. I noticed one of the comments by Osburns wrote, "Keeping you 10/5/2023. Hand over face emoji and a laughing emoji." Cassidy replied, "Heart and smiley face emoji. Going back in time, I guess." I deleted an account that no one should have known about on Snapchat on 10/5/2023. Mike's story about Mario. My mom's brother, Mike, told the family that his friend Mario has schizophrenia. He said Mario once knocked on his door late at night and asked to be taken to the hospital because he had been following a woman that had thoughts of her. Mike also said Mario doesn't take his medication and that Mario's wife has no idea about his condition. Mike also told us another set of stories about people he knew. We are only mentioning these stories because we don't know what stories are true and what stories are false. He said that one of his friend's brothers died of a drug overdose. He also mentioned years ago how someone he knew was by several men in a van. Last summer, Mike told my grandma that his friend Sal had died while scuba diving and that the family believed Sal's wife had something to do with it. My grandpa told me a story where Mike and Mario were at a woman's home and were going through her belongings without her permission. They bragged about finding personal tapes of her and her boyfriend and were watching it. My grandpa said there was more to it, but he will not tell me the rest of the story. Apparently, this woman walked in on them watching her tapes and she told them to leave. My grandma also told me that Mike purposely walked in on his cousin showering when they were teenagers. Because of this and the other stories he told involving people's private lives, certain patterns stood out to me when I later saw that Lena Webb was posting on Instagram. Her post referenced photography and videography in ways that connected back to things I had already documented about Mike. Based on the timing and the content, it appeared that the posts were pointing towards someone who records or films things, which made the connection to Mike stand out even more. During my nursing orientation at DePaul University on September 7, 2023, we took a group photo and were told to say cheese. 3 days later, on September 10th, 2023, a former high school classmate, Lena Webb, posted a photo with the caption, "Gotta get the cheeser ready when at 5 VMMY comes by," smiley face. I had previously reported bullying issues involving her to Mother Macaulay's administration, and I noticed she was posting photos and comments that appeared directed at me. When I looked at 5 VMMy's account, the name listed was Sammy with photography, videography in the bio, and a linked videography page called @SnapMKE. The MKE immediately reminded me of my mom's brother Mike for several reasons, creating a pattern that stood out to me in the context of the other events I was documenting. On October 18th, 2022, while in Arizona for Raymond and Nancy's wedding, Mike showed me a photo of his ex-girlfriend where she was naked but covering herself with her arms. On October 21st, 2022, we were at the Grand Canyon and Mike started to talk about yoga. He was trying to get me to do a squat to the ground and wanted to take a photo. My grandma said no, and Mike got really mad. On October 20th, 2022, Nancy brought up yoga and said it was a great scenery to take photos. Nancy and one of her sisters kept bringing up yoga to me. I noticed people online were doing the squat pose. On January 20th, 2021, in my high school group chat, Kiara wrote, "We should do one of those TikToks with the flashing lights and the animation." Kiara then sent 2 TikToks with the words, "Flash warning. Watch my puzzle piece testimony video regarding the name Gil and flashing lights." On April 26, 2021, Hannah wrote in our group chat, "Listening to metal in school is so funny for some reason." Kiara wrote, "I can't stand metal. I don't like the screaming. All I hear when I listen is this. Ah, ear. Ah." Hannah, "Disturbed, Metallica, and 3 Days Race are good." Kiara, "I'ma get to the cafe before the stinky go there and get a cookie and frappe. I should play that in my car and people would only hear the ah." 5 skull emojis. Hannah, "I can't wait till I drive myself to school. The rock music on my way to school is gonna smack. My poor carpool. I hope I drive my own friend from the hood. It'd be so fun. If I drive girls to school from the Ville, they'd be suffering with my music." On September 26, 2023, Hannah posted a song on Snapchat, so I looked it up. It's called Dig Me by King Crimson. Here are some of the lyrics. "I'm ready to leave. I want to be out of here. I'm ready to run away. I don't want to die in here. I'm ready to dig me, but don't bury me." Now, as for Mario, he supposedly has schizophrenia and violent thoughts, yet his wife doesn't know. Schizophrenia is a serious long-term condition that typically affects relationships, daily functioning, and behavior. It would be unusual for a spouse to be unaware of a diagnosis if the symptoms were as extreme as described. The severity of the story and the claimed secrecy do not align. Raymond and Nancy's story about Brandon. When I was little, my mom's brother Raymond and his wife Nancy told the family that Nancy's brother Brandon lost his mind, that he needed help and they didn't know what to do. We also know Brandon is now a police officer. Why were we told he lost his mind and yet later he becomes a police officer? I saw Brandon at Raymond and Nancy's wedding while in high school. Nancy's family grew distant. As we are putting the puzzle pieces together, something is not right and we have reason to believe they knew what was happening to our family. Brandon was said to have lost his mind, yet he became a police officer. The family described him as unstable, needing help, and in crisis. Yet he later enters a profession that requires psychological screening, stability, and public trust. The story we were told and the outcome do not match. We need air in jazz. On February 6, 2026, my mom, my grandma, and I were removed from our hotel room at Homewood Suites by Hilton. We were not given a clear reason for the removal. Watch the video where I show exactly what happened. For this video, I wanted to point out one of the many patterns I found disturbing. As my grandma and I were walking out of the room, Officer Rafferty commented that we were very good at making sure we have our belongings, and then added that he is always forgetting his AirPods at hotels. At the moment, this felt out of place. We were being removed from a hotel room, and the officer's comment came across as questionable. My mom has filed several complaints with Dollar Car Rental, National Car Rental, Budget, and Priceline. These complaints describe experiences involving employee misconduct, denial of service, vehicle tracking, and concerns about how our conversations inside rental cars seem to be known. All of these emails are available on my Linktree. In one incident, my mom prepaid for a car through Priceline, and Dollar refused to provide the vehicle or issue a refund. When she asked the manager for a business card, he said he didn't have one. She called the police, but the officers did not take action. A similar thing happened at Homewood Suites. The police removed us from the hotel without giving us a clear explanation. These events are documented because they occurred close together and involved similar issues. I also want to mention that the police officers who took the call on January 31st, 2026 for the Dollar Car Rental incident's name was Luna. On our way to Homewood Suites on February 6, 2026, 6th, the hacker sent me a manipulated TikTok referencing the name Luna. They were hinting that we were going to be removed from the hotel by the police, and we were removed. 2 incidents within 6 days of being denied service. On March 4th, 2026, at 6 p.m., a woman rang the doorbell and my mom answered it. She said she was looking for Grace. When my mom tried to question her, she said, "Never mind, she's over there," and took off to the corner house across the street. 6:06 p.m. As my mom was reading this section, Empis played the cat meow sounds over my grandpa's monitor. At 6:10 p.m., a car drove by, setting off a car alarm. After Dollar refused service, my mom went to the Alamo counter at Chicago Midway Airport to rent a car. We needed a vehicle for safety reasons. When we went to the garage to pick up the car, a male employee approached us, handed my mom a business card, and wrote the name Zaire on it. The card listed a Midway Airport email address and said to contact them with any questions during the rental. I noticed the word air inside the name Zaire, and it stood out to me because of everything else that had been happening. It also felt unusual that my mom had just asked Dollar for a business card and then this person immediately provided one. Is he even someone who would handle customer emails? On April 19, 2021, Hannah posted 2 memes in our group chat. The first said, "There's holes in my Crocs so my swag can breathe." And the second read, "Jazz for your soul." I documented these because both references connected directly to themes I had already been tracking, including mentions of the word jazz by an EEOC employee. On November 17, 2025, my mom documented in writing to Eric Lamb with the EEOC, and she wrote, "As far as appointments, you said you also have a 10:30 a.m. and you said I can play a little jazz after that." On April 19th, 2021, Kiara sent several Instagram comments, screenshots to the group chat. One of the memes was posted by someone named Jazz and said, "Thanks for the mental breakdown." The one directly below it read, "Now I can leave the world in peace, bye." The third meme was by Starfire, followed by an image of Harry Styles. Then additional memes showing crying. There was also a meme posted by Swaggy, which was a One Direction meme. Another meme showed a cat with a pair of Crocs placed over its head. Then there were 2 memes that said, "Who took my Bible?" All of these appeared in the same conversation on the same day and were documented because they fit the larger pattern of symbolic media that had been showing up throughout this period. On March 27, 2021, Hannah wrote, "Mother trucker, I can't find my cousin's remote." Kiara, "Mother trucker dude." Hannah, "Where TF is this MF remote? I'm going to scream." Kiara, "TV remote?" Hannah, "Yes. I hate when that happens. I want to put a tracker on my remote, like how AirPods have." Hannah, "The Roku TV remotes are the slickest, I swear." This is a conversation I am documenting from a separate group chat from Hannah, Claire, and Kiara. On December 10, 2021, a classmate by the name of Treasure wrote, "I get condoms, favorite candy, Dick's Sporting Good, gift cards, sweatshirts, either Nike or Adidas, mangas, anime shirts, and candles and art supplies." Treasure, "Majority of my guy friends like anime and art, so we usually get things we would want to have." Treasure, "The condoms started as a joke and still are, but we like to jazz it up every year." Hayes, Xmas list, pregnant woman emoji, sad emoji, 3 water drop emojis like tears, a red and green heart emoji. Condoms, just kidding, but not really, smiley face emoji. In high school, classmates would say that a senior was pregnant. I never saw her and no one ever mentioned her name. The FBI needs to investigate whether there were plans to commit harm against me in high school, including the possibility of a planned sexual assault. Certain posts and comments and behaviors from that time stood out to me, and I documented them because they raised serious concerns about what may have been intended. On Hannah's Pinterest, she posted a picture that said something like, "God protected you, you have no idea what was supposed to happen." It stood out to me in the context of everything else I have been experiencing, and it felt directed at me. George, Mother Macaulay high school group chat. In high school, I saw the name George referenced a lot in my group chat. Cheetah references. I also noticed classmates from high school and DePaul University using the word cheetah in ways that stood out. January 26, 2020, Hannah sent a picture of a male actor and said she had a crush on him. Kiara, "Hannah, you cheater, you unholy child, I'll save you." Hannah, "M, not a cheater." On October October 28th, 2023, Angela Galliano from DePaul University posted a photo and wrote, "There's a pink cheetah on the loose and no one is talking about it." In another photo, pay attention to their costumes. On October 15th, 2024, Cassidy Sullivan posted a photo, and in her comment section, someone named Maeve McDonough wrote, "Lots of cheetah this month, low-key. Are you a cougar?" 5 laughing emojis. Cassidy replied, "Yes." Family story. My mom told me that when my brother was a baby, my dad accused her of cheating with a guy named George. Georgia Bible. Last year, 2025, my mom's brother Raymond told my mom he was going to Georgia. We've also been seeing references to Georgia in different places, and to us, it felt connected to the name George. We are sharing the stories and references exactly as they happened. Here are some texts from the high school group chat regarding George. On April 18th, 2021 at 9:01 p.m., Kiara wrote, "I have a new phrase, y'all. Georges." Kiara wrote, "Someone spelled gorge wrong and spelt it as George." I went through my text messages and I didn't find anything regarding Kiara's claims. On January 20th, 2021 at 1:52 p.m., Kiara wrote, "I just got started on this Tandem app on Monday and I already blocked 2 people. One guy was asking if I like porn and the other one asked me if I had WeChat. Like, straight face." My mom recalls a coworker telling her that one of the partners named James at the firm she worked at had an addiction to January 20th, 2021 at 2:22 p.m., Claire replied, "I'm related to Charles Comiskey. Someone I don't remember how, though." At 3:09 p.m., Claire sent a picture of Joe Biden's hand on a Bible. She circled the Bible in the picture. Hannah wrote, "That's a massive Bible. That's weird. I'm sure it's a coincidence, honestly." Claire wrote, "I know that's huge. It almost doesn't look real." Hannah wrote, "Please, not me getting another offer for an enrollment thing in a medicine course, and it is from George Mason University." Hannah then wrote, "Is God trying to tell me something?" Surprised emoji. Hannah then shares a photo of Joe Biden. Hannah, was that pic from when Obama was taking oath? Because this is from today. She had blue on and she had red on in the pic you sent. Claire, I don't know. That's sus. Hannah, yeah, but it is old then. Claire, so Obama's was fake. Just kidding, but bruh, that Bible looks fake. Kiara, at not coming home, kill you, remember. Hannah, no, I mean that someone posted that saying it was from today, and that is when Biden was vice president. The one I sent from today. Bible is massive. On March 12, 2020, Kiara posted a picture of the United States and where cases have been reported from the coronavirus. After this, she writes, "Hey guys, want to move to Georgia? Oh wait, is that Georgia? I forgot what star that was. Whatever or whoever created this virus, I just hope that it, in capitals, doesn't go to heaven." WeChat, super chat. Now pay attention to this. On January 24, 2021 at 12:07 a.m., Kiara sent a profile picture of a male named Caleb. His profile says, "Talk to me and I'll tell you everything." His profile says he is from China. Kiara wrote, "First guy, do you like Second, do you have WeChat? Third, what state are you from? Fourth, do you have Instagram?" On October 25th, 2024, I noticed an app called Super Chat was downloaded on my phone by hackers. I believe the Super Chat app downloaded onto my device was to resemble the WeChat app that was referenced in my high school group chat. Main character syndrome and luckiest girl syndrome. On September 17th, 2024, on Instagram, the Dakota Taking wrote, "Chosen Suffering Year 1. In one of the comments, writer Rogatsk wrote, "Straight up, got a pic of George in here like you're the main character in it." In 2023, my brother made a comment to me that I had main character syndrome. At my mom's former workplace, her coworkers were putting signs up at their cubicles that read, "Luckiest girl syndrome." On May 8th, 2024, Kaylee McLean posted photos and wrote, "Same time next year." In the comment section, Maddie Linville wrote, "You are literally the main character." On March 28th, 2024, Kaylee McLean posted photos and wrote, "Situational awareness equals 0." In the comment section, Morgan Turpin replied, "No situational awareness whatsoever," followed by 3 face emojis with wide open mouths and crossed out eyes. Olivia Template commented, "The stories I heard were crazy," and also added, "You're so stinking cute. At the time, we weren't aware that we were being cyberstalked. Abduction. On April 23rd, 2021, Kiara sent a TikTok into the group chat that says, I made 3 of these. The first you see is your anime kidnapper. Kiara wrote, not the anime kidnapping again. I'd actually call for help this time. Kiara then sent another TikTok that says, congratulations, you've just died. Now choose a different timeline to be reborn in. Posted by Direct on TikTok. Kiara wrote, which one y'all? Tokyo 2296 for MOI. On December 1st, 2020, Hannah wrote, I think my Bluetooth was just connected to my mom's speaker. I'm praying she didn't hear anything I didn't want her to. I don't know how long it's been on my phone. I was on TikTok and I was watching Danny Duncan's story. Kiara sent a TikTok that says, guys, don't put your location on. I did this with a random Indian from QuickAd. Kiara wrote, watch her get kidnapped. Hannah, yo, I'm so scared my Bluetooth was on. Hannah, let me go see what Danny Duncan's story said because it might have been that. Hannah, me praying he didn't say vagina because his horse was in the story. Claire, what did it say? Hannah, I'm checking now. Oh, thank God. Nothing bad. I was scared he said his horse's name. On March 14th, 2020, Claire wrote, Uncle John's took the real Kiara from us. Hannah, kidnapped her. Kiara sent a TikTok that says, me going to Thanksgiving dinner in sweatpants and a ratty sweatshirt. In the video, it lists multiple celebrities. The uncle in this video is James Charles. Kiara wrote, ha ha ha, BTS and James Charles. On April 20th, 2022, in a separate high school group chat, Kiriana wrote, me and Maddie was wrong about her kidnapping you, but she is crazy. Olivia and Maddie both put 2 exclamation marks on Kiriana's text. Becca wrote, yes, she is crazy. In high school on Snapchat, the people that I followed started to give their location. People who weren't giving their location started to give it to me. They wanted me to pick up on that I was being tracked. On July 12th, 2022, at 1:28 a.m., my mom and I drafted a message on Snapchat to someone named Josh Ladislas after he posted a photo of himself with 2 other males. He was giving me his location at the time. He was older and I was a minor and I felt he was posting for my attention. I sent him, I'm underage, you've given me your location twice already and now you're posting for me? I'm not interested. After I sent this message, he unfollowed me. Number 6, Lucifer and demonic references. January 20th, 2021, Hannah sent in our group chat a TikTok by Daddy Vader. It's about Star Wars. From the TikTok Hannah sent to us, she wrote, pick me one, y'all, I'm curious. Kiara, boy 6, I'm just kidding. He looks like Lucifer from Lucifer. Boy 3, the one in white who's the demonic one. There needs to be an investigation into Mother McCauley High School and why the number 6 keeps resurfacing. Were there plans of utilizing 6 boys? April 14th, 2021, Kiara wrote, I have to walk my demonic dog. Peter, violence in early mornings. Then there is Peter. I knew Peter in grammar school. In grammar school, Peter talked about breaking into abandoned homes and he said he wanted to burn down St. John Fisher School. He also made reference to Jeffree Star. I thought the reference to Jeffree Star had to do with his sexuality in the word star. Now I know it had to do with my teacher, Miss Star, in the 1st grade. On September 20th, 2019, I wrote to Peter in a text message, did everything go well as you snuck into your house or did you get caught? Peter responded, I got caught. I wrote, what happened? Peter responded, my dad cut me and beat me with a 7-iron. Just kidding, I never tried to sneak in. In freshman year, Peter asked me to Brother Rice's homecoming dance, but a Mother McCauley classmate who played golf warned me not to go with him. On April 5th, 2024, I later received a prank text from saying, hey James, you should go play golf. James is also the first name of 2 partners at my mom's former workplace. On April 26, 2023 at 7:44 a.m., I received an email from Ellen Navarrete informing me that I have been selected to be a student speaker at a final board meeting scheduled for May 17th, 2023 at the Ridge Country Club. The day before this email was sent, my criminal justice teacher stopped me in the hallway, looked noticeably shocked, and asked how I was doing. I want to clarify that I originally remembered this happening on the same day as the email, but after finding the message and seeing that it was sent early in the morning, I realized the hallway interaction must have taken place the day before. Her reaction felt out of place at the time, and in hindsight, I believe it was meant to connect to Ellen's email the next morning. Several elements of the email itself were striking. The sender's name is Ellen. Ellen is the same name as my mom's half-sister Renee's mother, which made the message feel symbolically charged. The meeting was scheduled for for May 17th, the same date we believe my mom was hacked, and the location, Ridge Country Club, tied into the recurring golf-related patterns that were appearing around that period. Taken together, the teacher's reaction, the timing of the email, and the symbolic details surrounding the date, name, and location made the situation feel coordinated rather than coincidental. I remember Peter crying when I declined the dance, and I did not attend the freshman Brother Rice homecoming. On January 10th, 2020, when I saw Peter at a basketball game at Brother Rice High School, he and his friend gave me the middle finger. Looking back, after everything I've experienced, I believe something was planned to happen to me that night. I took the prank text as a message aimed at the girl who warned me to stick to golf and shut up. The criminal justice teacher, the golf event email, the prank text, and the name James were all done in a way that connected back to each other. The girl who warned me played golf. James connects to my mom's former workplace, and the golf invitation was suspicious. Together, these events reinforced my belief that the principal, administrators, teachers, students, and many others, especially in the Beverly area, knew something was planned to harm me, participated in it, and encouraged it. Golf symbolism and groups of boys. Correlations with golf posts. On June 1st, 2021, Mason Mraz posted a video of @SoccerDunas13 and wrote, "Man's getting lessons." In the video, he misses hitting the ball twice. When you slow down the video, it looks like he is purposely missing it.
Go.
December 8th, 2021, Cole Adamski posted, "Happy birthday, Lee." The person in the video does 4 hits to the ground.
Second one always does it.
Is Lee code for T? Putting these two videos together, that would be a total of 6 swings. Mason and Cole were 2 boys that had unusual contact with me. January 25th, 2022, Cole posted 6 boys with golf clubs in their hands. In the caption, he wrote, "Happy birthday, Smooth." On June 21st, 2022, the day before my birthday, Michael Conway posted a Snapchat photo of himself with 5 other boys, 6 in total. He added the word recent on the picture. In the photo, Michael is wearing a jersey with the number 13 on it. One of the other boys is wearing a Cubs jersey and another is wearing a Sox jersey. I've been repeatedly harassed with the numbers 1 and 3, and I'm also targeted with references to the Sox and Cubs. In 2022, Nick with the black card emoji added me as a friend request on Snapchat. I later noticed that in his username he has Plan B NIXK. Why did Nick have reference to Plan B in his username? On June 20th, 2022, Nick posted a video of a teenage boy. Here's the video.
What you looking at, bro? I'm bloggers with big tits.
What do you make of that video? Orange, Jacob Wisgard, and Flash references. On January 17th, 2020, I was at a Rice basketball game with Hannah Hayes. Hannah told me that she liked the boy in orange. The boy is the one who films the games at Rice. His name is Jacob Wisgard. I also recall a moment from my senior year math class with Mrs. O'Hara involving the word orange. My classmate Maura Reedy kept asking Mrs. O'Hara to repeat the word, and every time Mrs. O'Hara said orange, Maura would burst out laughing. Mrs. O'Hara was pronouncing it normally, so the whole exchange felt exaggerated and out of place, which is why it stuck with me given the timing and specific word involved. I have reason to believe that the repeated orange exchange between Mrs. O'Hara and Maura Reedy was staged to mimic Hannah's earlier comment about liking the boy in orange, who was Jacob Wisgard, and that it may have been intended to draw my attention toward him. On February 7, 2020, Hannah sent a photo of 6 boys, with one of them being Jacob Wisgard, to our group chat. One of the boys in the photo has his tongue sticking out. Claire then wrote the random username N_Nigo5. Then she sent a picture of Sam, whom I documented in a video titled Puzzle Pieces Testimony. Sam is the boy who happened to be in one of my senior year classes. This was odd as I went to an all-girl school. He was placed in my class by Mother Macaulay administrators. Why? After that, Claire added 2 more random usernames, Ed Garcia and Armin IG. On February 8, 2020, Claire wrote, "Edgar followed me back. I think it is. I'll send you a pic." Claire sent a pic of 2 boys into the chat and wrote, "I don't think it's him." Hannah, yeah, I don't think so. What stands out here is that on February 7th, Claire had written the username EdGarcia_032, and on February 8th, she said, "Edgar followed me back," and sent a photo. Both Claire and Hannah then insisted the boy in the picture wasn't Edgar, even though the photo came directly from the Instagram account EdGarcia_032, the same username Claire had mentioned on February 7th. After they denied it was Edgar, they shifted the focus onto the other boy in the photo. Claire wrote, "The guy next to him's not so bad though. Hannah, he's kinda cute low-key. Did he tag him in the picture? Claire, I don't think so. Never mind, his @ was there. Kiara is probs binge watching The Flash again. Across several dates spanning from early February 2020 through March 2021, my group chat repeatedly referenced the show The Flash. These dates include, there was also several references to a boy named Josh in the high school group chat. On December 1st, 2020, Claire wrote in the group chat, y'all, what if he played Among Us with us? Hannah replied, just like Josh, prompting Claire to respond, oh God, LOL, and Hannah to add, ew. On December 4th, 2020, Hannah wrote, not Josh trying to request to follow my spam again. Star emoji, no star emoji. On January 16th, 2021, Hannah said, I just have homework and Josh hasn't texted me yet, so maybe at like 6 or 7. Kiara added, who is Josh? Claire answered, the one who played Among Us with us key. Hannah added, the boy we don't like, the one who likes me. On February 3rd, 2021, Hannah wrote, Claire, are you in Jake's private story? Claire replied, I think so, why? Kiara asked, who is Jake? Claire responded, oh my lord, key. Hannah told them, look at it, I'm wheezing. Kiara then asked, is that the guy who we played Among Us with? Hannah said, has me rolling. I'm laughing so hard, that's Josh, ew. Claire corrected her with, no key, LOL, and Kiara ended with, ew. Josh was mentioned as someone they had played Among Us with, but his name doesn't appear anywhere in the group chat before December 1st, 2020. I remember Hannah bringing him up once on FaceTime, and when I asked who Josh was, she said that she, Claire, and Kiara had played Among Us with him. I asked how I hadn't heard about this, and she told me it was because I wasn't reading the messages. On January 20th, 2021, Kiara wrote in the group chat, we should do one of those TikToks with the flashing lights animation. Then Kiara sent TikToks into the chat. The first TikTok says, flash warning with 2 star emojis. The second TikTok says, flash warning. See my puzzle piece testimony video for more information on flashing lights. On April 22nd, 2021, Hannah wrote, please look what my cousin tagged me in. I'm crying. I just want to note that she intentionally wrote 6 G's. Hannah then sent a video of Drake. I'm going to play it for you.
Well, I suck you, I know I'm cocky. Ain't no gangbang and Bukaki.
On April 30th, 2021, Hannah sent 2 more Drake videos. One video was made by an account named @Remy. On July 8th, 2022, on Snapchat, Piper Woodprints posted a photo of her and 3 other girls in a car and wrote, happy birthday, Remy, red heart emoji, love you. In the second video, the caption says, why are there repeated references to the Drake video? Additional boys, names, and symbolism. On February 4th, 2021, Kiara wrote in the chat, who is this, and sent a picture of Jack Orion's profile. On February 6th, 2021, Kiara sent Jack Orion's profile picture again. On June 7, 2020, Hannah wrote, y'all, I gotta show you a boy, Chris. Hannah sent a picture of 3 boys and 1 girl in a chat. Hannah wrote underneath, the one all the way on the left. Kiara, he looks like he's 19. Hannah, you don't think he's cute? He's 15. Kiara, what's his name? Hannah, Joey. Kiara, okay, Jonah, that's your new ship name. That sounds like an old person name though. Hanny, Jonah, there, Jonah. Jonah, I'll call you Jonah. Hannah, I now have 2 nicknames for you, Host and Jonah. Kiara, and H-Dog. Hannah, and H-Dog, yeah. A girl of many names, Host, Jonah, and H-Dog. See my video puzzle pieces testimony in regards to 21 Jump Street and the name Jonah Hill, Mass. Now everything is based on symbolism, which creates patterns. I noticed that both Mason and Sam have the letters Mass in their names, which made me question whether their contact with me had symbolic relevance, especially with Mass connected to Mass in church. On May 4th, 2024, Steel City Lopez, a student at University of Kentucky, posted photos on Instagram and wrote, I don't have friends, I got family, praying hands emoji. In the comment section, Mason Adams wrote, Mr. Mass, red alarm emoji. Steel City Lopez replied in Mason Adams, appreciate it, Mass Jr., call me hand emoji. Underneath this comment is another comment by H2O Morelli that says, love ya, Tio. Tio may be symbolic coding for CEO. References to the number 21. April 8th, 2020, Hannah wrote, my birthday is in 21 days. April 23rd, 2020, Hannah wrote, last day of school is the 21st. April 27, 2020, Hannah wrote, I'm confused on how we calculate number 21. December 29th, 2020, Hannah wrote, maybe I'll drink a little real wine. Smirk emoji. Claire wrote, I'm waiting till 21 because my parents are giving me $1,000 if I do. Yeah, it was a deal they made with us. If my sister waited till 21, she got a $1,000, but if she didn't wait and my first brother did, he would get $2,000. If my 2 oldest siblings didn't wait and my 3rd sibling did wait, he would would get 3,000, and if none of them waited and I did, I would have gotten 4,000. Or if my brother that 19 doesn't wait, I'll get 2,000 if I wait. January 13, 2021, Kiara sent 3 links, 2 from Shine and 1 for a textured knit cardigan sweater from Forever 21. January 25th, 2021, Kiara wrote, I'm gonna use the one that I haven't used from when I went to the mall, the Forever 21 one. January 26th, 2021, Kiara wrote, I love UK ones, but my US fave is Forever 21. Hannah, I like Forever 21 too. February 3rd, 2021, Kiara sent a picture of her dog in the chat. The photo was labeled 1/2/2021. Underneath it, she wrote 2/1/2021, along with look at that and non-cursed images. March 1st, 2021, Claire wrote, dude, Mrs. Rush thought my sis was my mother when I went to an open house in 7th grade. I was 13, so my sis was 21. March 15th, 2021, Kiara wrote, it is in my Forever 21 faves. March 17th, 2021, Kiara wrote, I'ma just scroll through Forever 21. March 19th, 2021, Claire wrote, LOL, I have 2021 unread emails. Claire, I opened 21. Kiara, my personal has a lot of ads and spams. 50% off at Forever 21. That's an example. April 7th, 2021, Hannah wrote, yes, new 21 Pilots album in May. They announced the first single already. Hannah, I have been waiting for a new album, OMFG. I'm mad, though I knew before they announced it because people leaked it. April 15th, 2021, Claire wrote in the group chat, she wrote a whole album comes out like May 21st. Hannah, yep, 3 albums come out May 21st. I need to listen to. Water Park announced theirs first, then 21 Pilots, and then Olivia. April 17th, 2021, in my high school group chat, Kiara wrote, OMG, long time no see, Claire. It's only been 1,000 years. How was 1021? Kiara, and Chris has been dead for 10,000 years. She saw the Ice Ages. Claire, brutal key. I believe the Ice Age reference was used to tie into the theme of winter, when the planned murder was to take place. April 19th, 2021. Kiara wrote, I go to Vegas on May 15th. Hannah wrote, I want to go to Vegas for my 21st. Claire, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. On April 21st, 2021, Kiara wrote, my stepdad says that most men cheat if they are 21 through 30. April 25th, 2021, Kiara wrote, ew, I found an old pic from November 21st, 2019, then change it to November 20th. April 27th, 2021, Kiara wrote, Claire, did you confess to Connor yet? Claire, no. Kiara, bruh, why can't you just confess? It's only 3 words. It's been almost 2 years. Claire, Key, it's not that easy, and also it has only been a little over a year. Kiara, no, you liked him since August 2019. That's a long time. Confess now. Kiara, the longer you wait, the longer the pain is if you get regretted, which is 12%. Claire, 12%. Kiara, no, 21%. He's dry. Claire, 21%. What? Kiara, 21% chance of being rejected. April 29th, 2021, Hannah wrote, I was born at 8/21. I am officially 16. Claire wrote, oh my gosh, I was born at that time too. Hannah wrote, and in the morning? Claire wrote, yes. Hannah wrote, stop. That's crazy. See my video puzzle piece testimony in regards to the senior prank in 21 Jump Street. CEO name patterns. The name Tio could be symbolic coding for CEO. I also noticed the names Nick and Cole, which immediately brought to mind St. Nicholas and Cole. Cole being what you receive when you are not good, which fits the theme of Santa Claus and winter. Then there is Luke, which connects directly to the Gospel of Luke, and Peter, who in the Bible is an apostle and is known for denying Jesus 3 times. These name patterns stood out because of how they aligned with the symbolic themes that were already appearing, and I want to point that out in this video. Please see my video titled A Crime Built on Biblical References. Celebs mentioned on purpose. Illuminati, celebrities, and devil symbolism. In my high school group chat, Hannah Hayes once made a comment that stood out. On February 5th, 2021, she said, I think that all celebs are in the Illuminati. On February 6th, 2020, Kiara sent a photo in the chat. She wrote, isn't that the devil symbol? Next to the symbol of the pentagram is a pin that says, game over, continue. Hannah wrote, no, it's not the devil symbol. Kiara said, it looks like this symbol. I forgot what that is. Hannah wrote, it's a witchcraft thing for summoning, I think. Kiara, yeah, so it involves the devil. Hannah, they're kind of different, but yeah, sure. Kiara, they don't worship God though. Hannah, they don't worship neither. Well, I mean, I don't really know. I'm just guessing off basic knowledge. Kiara, no, Hannah, that's the devil's symbol. This is a pentagram. Hannah, it literally says pentagram below the pin. LMAO. Kiara then posted a photo of a pentagram. Kiara, this is the devil's symbol. Hannah, yeah, that's the same thing. Oh. Kiara begins to send more pentagrams. Kiara, I draw pentagrams all the time to help with making a star. Kiara, so I've been drawing the devil symbol upside down for most of my life. Great. We are sharing it because it became part of the larger set of stories and comments we were exposed to. Holy Child versus sexualized references. March 14th, 2020, Hannah wrote in our high school group chat, "Where's the real Kiara? She's supposed to be a holy child, LMAO." Claire sent a photo of a shirtless boy in a bed. Claire wrote, "Y'all are blessed, holy children again." I want to add here that a boy named Cole that attended the high school next door to my high school sent me a shirtless picture of himself in bed. My mom ended up contacting the dean of his school to report odd behavior. The dean told my mom that Cole denied knowing me. Was this done on purpose to resemble what Peter did in the Bible? I had to show proof of contact, which I was able to. Why would he have to deny knowing me? February 27, 2021, Kiara sent to our group chat a TikTok about royalty. She then sent another TikTok about the size of a guy's package. Claire, you're supposed to be an innocent little child. You need Jesus, holy water. Then Claire sent pictures of Jesus on a cross, holy water, a rosary, a holy Bible, and reconciliation. Jesus, Bible verses, and religious saturation. On March 18th, 2021, Claire wrote, "When Connor's texting me, but he's supposed to be talking to God." Kiara wrote, "Tell him to talk to Jesus. Say this, STFU, and talk to Jesus and God." On March 18, 2021, Kiara wrote, "He was ignoring Jesus." Hannah wrote, "And you saw how evil my cousins are. You were like, and I thought my cousins were bad. LMFAO." Claire, "From last year, the one you sat at lunch with sometimes." Hannah, "They are insane, Claire. Thy are." Hannah, "My whole family, dude. LMFAO." Claire, "Yeah. Losing My Religion by Rem is on." Hannah, "Amazing song." Claire, "Same. If things are normal senior year and I have a grad party, y'all are going to be like when you meet my crazy family." Hannah, "LMFAO, wait till y'all meet mine." Kiara, "Brush, who is at the front door? A car." Claire, "As of right now, there won't be any babies there because there aren't any expected the next 2 years." On January 14, 2021, Hannah wrote, "Claire is in pain." Kiara wrote, "Claire, why are you in pain? You have Jesus on your side." November 29th, 2020, Kiara sent a TikTok of a man demonstrating a cross.
Policemen swear to God, love sleeping from God.
Kiara, "Finally, a non-demonic one of these." Kiara wrote in the chat, "This is Bible study now." Kiara sent verses John 3:16, John 3:17, and John 3:20. Then she wrote, "After this, Jesus and his disciples went out into the Judean countryside where he spent some time with them and baptized." And then she sent 1 John 3:22. On March 22nd, 2021, Kiara wrote, "Can Megan stop calling me? TF, I'm looking for a Jesus compassion verse. TF." Kiara, "They took all the good verses in Mark. I think I found one. Mark 7:31 through 37. On April 15th, 2021, Claire wrote in the chat, "Yup, we made a Bitmoji of Jesus." On April 16th, 2021, Hannah wrote, "Baby goats are so cute. They are evil but cute." No, they are cute, but they are evil. Kiara, "They are cute, but they are the symbol for the devil." On March 14th, 2020, Kiara sent verses 1 through 31 from the Bible of Genesis, John 3:16, Jeremiah 29:11, the Romans 8:28, Phil 4:13, Genesis 1:1, Proverbs 3:5, Hail Mary prayer in Spanish, Hail Mary prayer in Latin, Hail Mary in Japanese, and Hail Mary in Chinese. Jake and Logan Paul references. In grammar school, I remember my classmates debating over if they were a Jake Pauler or a Logang follower. They were big at the time, and naturally everyone in my class watched them. I even went to Jake's concert when I was 13 years old. While in high school, I noticed classmates exaggerating Jake and Logan Paul, which I thought was odd considering we were older then. On social media, I noticed many people posting concerts, and I knew it was them mocking that they knew I went to Jake Paul's concert. I was getting bullied from grammar school to high school and at DePaul University. In high school, I discovered that students created a Max Barstool and posted mocking photos of the Paul brothers, and I knew it was for my view, especially when I seen Hannah commented, "It is everyday bro," in one of the comments. The Mac Barstool's caption read, "My two biggest supporters, praying hands. I always get DMs from these men, and they are what keeps me going. Hashtag Logang Monster, hashtag Jake Pauler. Now let's connect the pieces. Minions, Empist, and workplace mirroring. As I write this, a neighbor set off a firework and Empist removed my mom offline. This happened at 8:38 p.m. I am documenting the timing because this type of interruption has happened many times and consistently occurs at key moments. I recall that my mom said that at her former workplace, a coworker told her that James McCarthy, a partner at the firm, called the staff minions. What stands out is that Logan Paul released a song titled Help Me Help You, in which he is wearing a minion outfit, and the lyrics themselves also include the word minion. My mom recalls that it was the same year they were called minions. The song was posted on May 18th, 2017, and 6 days earlier, Empist revamped on May 12th, 2017. We believe my mom was hacked on May 17th, 2010, and that I was hacked on May 12th, 2016. On August 25th, 2023, at 3:14 p.m., my mom received a prank text to her phone that said, "Hold on, gang." Was this to mimic Logang? March 3rd, 2021. In my high school group chat, Claire wrote, "What's poppin', Logang?" Symbolic harassment in mirrored posts. Jim, one of the partners at the firm, who referred to the staff as minions, made a remark that connects directly to the broader harassment pattern, especially when paired with Angela Galgano's social media post holding a balloon with 2 minions and the word party. The overlap between a workplace comment from a law firm partner and a staged online message suggests intentional mirroring rather than coincidence, reinforcing the symbolic harassment motive. In the same post, Angela wrote, "The American dream has been fulfilled. Congratulations, Tio," followed by 31 comments. The name Tio may be symbolic coding for CEO, suggesting leadership or funding behind the harassment. This adds another layer of intentional reference linking power and authority motives to the broader pattern. On June 24th, 2024, Angela Galgano from DePaul University posted with a huge-sized minion and wrote, "Met my celebrity crush, kinda nervous." On October 3rd, 2021, Mason Mraz, a Brother Eye student and had contact with me, posted a photo of a boy named Owen and wrote, "First date, kinda nervous." Mason never referenced to me that he was gay, but mentioned other family of his that were gay. The coworker who told my mom that James McCarthy called the staff minions is also gay. Do you see a pattern here? These posts share similar phrasing and timing patterns that I am documenting. Mason was added to our group chat during the period when other irregular interactions were occurring, and I am noting this as part of the broader pattern I've been tracking. My documentation focuses on the timing, the repetition of themes, and the correlation across different individuals and platforms. Gay references. On May 22nd, 2023, Luke Spatz posted on Instagram photos of himself flexing both arms while wearing a Spider-Man mask. Seeing it brought back a memory from when I was in kindergarten at Bernadette. I had been standing in front of a mirror flexing both arms when my teacher, Mrs. Duffy, quietly took a picture of me on her iPad without my knowledge or consent and showed it to my classmates. I heard Mrs. Duffy and some of the students laughing, and when I went up to her desk to see what was going on, she showed me the photo. I told her I didn't like it and I wanted her to delete it instead of sharing it. Sometime later, the same photo resurfaced during a school event at Bernadette where students, parents, and teachers were gathered. A projector was displaying a slideshow of pictures of my classmates, and I saw that she had included the photo of me flexing in the mirror. Luke's post immediately brought that entire sequence back in mind, echoing the same pose and the same moment I remembered from kindergarten. In the caption of his post, he used a series of exaggerated, provocative hashtags. Later that same day, he posted another photo, this time shirtless and flexing one arm, and again used intentionally shocking, sexualized hashtags in the caption. I also noticed that Golodamski, a boy who had unusual contact with me, had written in his bio that his account was managed by Luke Spatz, which made the connection between them stand out even more. In the first caption, Luke Spatz wrote, "Looking huge, mungus right now, not gonna lie." In the second caption, he wrote, "Girls, stop texting me, you can't take this, millimeter defeater." On May 30th, 2024, Rudy Perez, a student at Brother Rice, posted photos and wrote, "Trust it, hashtag let's go man, hashtag family." In the comments, Samus Hanley wrote, "Time to start providing for your family." Another user, Up to No Good, Mike, "Don't trust this guy." And I noticed his name is Mike, the same name as my mom's brother. A different user, Donna Bucks, commented, "Twin, this hurts." Ryan Hartz wrote, "Want to go back to Arizona?" And Rudy responded, "A little," and that comment stood out to me because I was in Arizona in October 2022 for my Uncle Raymond and his wife Nancy's wedding. Olivia Harris then commented, "Okay, gay," and Rudy replied, "Blocked." On April 6, 2024, Cassidy Sullivan, a classmate from Mother Macaulay, posted a series of photos with the caption, "Let's go." One of the images showed her with her boyfriend and she was pointing at a ring on his finger with her middle finger. In the comments, Michaela Moss wrote, "Invite me to the wedding," and another user, TBH2751, added, "He gay?" The username caught my attention because TBH stands for "to be honest," which matched the bluntness of the comment. On June 15th, 2022, a girl named Bree, who I believe went to Mother Macaulay, posted a black screen on Snapchat with text that read, "Hair length and a change of personality doesn't define someone's sexuality," because I'm 99.9% positive that that is what immature, small-minded people see as proof or evidence of someone being gay. Underneath that, there was more writing, but it was partially cut off in the screenshot. It appeared to be about not making assumptions and about maturity. On June 16th, 2022, Bree posted again. This time she took a photo of herself with part of her hand covering her mouth and wrote, "Also to clarify, I'm not gay." On June 18th, 2023, Angela Galgano posted photos of herself with her dad. Angela is wearing a shirt that says "Thought Daughter," and her dad is wearing a shirt that says "Gay Dad." In one of the photos, Angela has her hand pointed downwards and is giving a peace sign while her dad holds one finger up. In another photo Angela took, her dad has a sucker in his mouth, and he has 2 stickers on his shirt that say "Proud." My mom recalls that when my brother was about 7 years old, he played the song Dancing Queen. Junior yelled at him, "Stop listening to that song. What? Are you gay?" At the time, it just seemed like a harsh comment, but later it stood out to us. On May 7, 2022, Ava Spreitzer posted on social media, "Dancing Queen just turned 17. The post referenced the same song Junior had mocked years earlier, with both the May 7 date and the 17 in her caption, each highlighting the number 7. Back in freshman year, Hannah told me she liked a boy named Hugh, but wasn't sure whether he felt the same way. On December 31st, 2019, she messaged me directly, not in the high school group chat, and said, "I think I'm telling him I like him tonight, skull emoji." Later, I asked her, "Did you tell him yet?" She replied, "He answered." I asked, "What did you say to him?" What did he reply? Hannah told me he doesn't feel the same way. She sent me the exact message she had written to Hugh. "Okay, so I thought of being bold since it is New Year's Eve and I just thought you should know I have feelings for you and I was wondering if you had feelings or something for me too." Later, Hannah told me in person that he was gay. I remember asking her why she would text him on New Year's if she already knew that, and she didn't say anything. On March 6, 2021, Kiara wrote in the chat, "My skateboard was loosened so I can turn now." Kiara, "My trucks were loosened, that is what I meant." Oof, no, karate sucks, bruh. Hannah, "Oh, I need to fix my trucks. I would do it, gotta let out my anger. I was gonna let Hugh do it, but I ain't texting him, LMF. Ayo." Hannah, skull emoji, "I think he's gay, low-key." On March 14th, 2020, Hannah wrote, "I kind of want to text you." Kiara, "No roaches. He is dead to you. We stomped on him 2 months ago." Hannah, "More like he stomped on me, sad face." Claire, "LOL, this is turning into a therapy support chat." On November 30th, 2020, Claire wrote, Connor texted. Hannah wrote, "I love how he actually carries on the convo. Hugh could never." On December 3rd, 2020, Hannah wrote in the chat, "I liked you for over a year until I told him, eyes wide open emoji, Halloween 2018. Claire, pop." Hannah, "And I admitted on New Year's Eve 2019. Kiara, "When again, I'm lost. Wait, I thought you liked him for years." Hannah, "Well, I liked him for over a year. Halloween 2018 to New Year's 2019. New Year's Eve." On December 17, 2020, Hannah wrote in the chat, "Remember when Hugh called me baby like 3 times? Cat emoji with hard eyes. And then didn't even like me?" Claire, "True, although we have gotten some good signs." On February 4th, 2021, Hannah wrote, "Please, Mrs. McKee is Hugh's aunt." Kiara, "Hugh, you said a foul word. Apologize to yourself right now. We do not talk to sewer rats." Hannah, "We don't. That's why I don't text him." Tongue sticking out emoji. Kiara, "When was the last time that you talked to him?" Hannah, "Just last June." Kiara, "June?" Hannah, "Yes, but I didn't still like him." Kiara, "He became a cuss word in February. You sinner." Hannah, "I was trying to be friends, but it didn't work." Kiara, "Because he's a rat." Hannah, "He's rejected me New Year's Eve of 19. Rat." Kiara, "No, you need to delete that memory." On February 3rd, 3rd, 2020, Kiara wrote in the chat, Batwoman is supposed to date Batman, not a woman. Hannah wrote, she is a lesbian in the comics too. Kiara, no. Hannah, yes, she is. Kiara, she dates Batman. Hannah, no, she doesn't. Batman is usually with Catwoman. Kiara, no. Hannah, bro, I know what I'm talking about. LMAO. Kiara, no. Hannah, yes, look it up. Hannah then sent a screenshot into the chat. It says, Infinite Crisis 2005. The modern Batwoman is written as being of Jewish descent and as a lesbian. Kiara, no, it says that she is a female love interest for Batman according to the comics number 233. Hannah, bruh, I just showed you proof. There's different storylines, but in the modern, most recent storyline, she is with a woman. Kiara, that's a movie, but the comics are the original. Hannah, I'm talking about the comics. Kiara, never mind. You were right. The original Batwoman wasn't gay, but there are different versions. Hannah, whatever. I'm not gonna argue over a comic. 3 crying laughing emojis. Kiara sent a screenshot in the group chat that says, whereas the original Batwoman was created partially to show that Batman was not gay. DC Comics presented the new Batwoman as a lesbian from very first appearance, and she was portrayed as having been in a long-term relationship with Gotham City Police Detective Renee Montoya, the new Batwoman, ... Kiara wrote, underneath the screenshot, still not watching. Hannah, why? Just because she's not straight? Sad face. Kiara, because she was supposed to be a love interest for Batman, but they changed it. Hannah, I didn't like her with Batman anyway. On February 13, 2020, Kiara wrote, Snart is gay. WTH, that's a big surprise. Hannah wrote, why are you watching The Flash during class? 2 loudly crying emojis. On March 1st, 2021, Claire wrote, this girl really just said no man was involved in the creation of Jesus, and I'm like, girl, you know God is a man, right? Hannah, what did your teacher say? Skull emoji. Claire, my teacher said she's right. I'm like, WTF, this girl really just said God loves all genders as if he made more than 2. Hannah, how is she right? Well, I agree with the genders part, but like God created Jesus through Mary. Smiley face emoji. Claire, okay, but like it's not like he originally planned more than 2 genders. That wasn't a known thing until recent, really. Claire, I'm like, girl, you should have gone the whole mile and included LGBTQ at that point, which I believe God loves all people, but like really, you talk about the genders, but not the LGBTQ. Hannah, yes, exactly. Like gays too. On April 1st, 2021, Claire sent in the chat a YouTube video. The title is Minds That Cared for Me When No One Else Did. A few texts below, Claire wrote, look at all those chickens. Your chicken sticks. OMFG, she, dead. 2 bros chilling in a hot tub 5 feet apart cause they're not gay. Why are you running? So I'm sitting there, barbecue sauce on my Mason, a boy I had unusual contact with, wrote to me on Snapchat that a family member of his, I believe it was his aunt, is a lesbian. My mom recalls that when I was little, Colleen Mulcahy told her she was sleeping with a man who was married and that his wife had no idea he was sleeping with both men and women. Looking back at these posts as a whole, what struck me was how often gay-coded language, jokes, and symbols appeared across different people in moments. It wasn't about any one person, it was the repetition and tone that made the pattern stand out to me. Keys, Minions, and Michigan Connections. On September 2nd, 2024, Angela from DePaul University posted a photo, and in the caption she wrote, met another celebrity. She was holding a cat Squishmallow, and in the background is a huge key on the wall. On January 21st, 2021, Kyra, a girl I met in Michigan, messaged me saying, hey, do you want to see the snowman I built with my friends? Then she sent me a picture of 2 snowmen, one big and one small. She wrapped a Minion scarf around the big one. On July 2nd, 2022, Esme posted a photo and wrote, Minion time. YouTubers, Prime, and social media references. What I want to point out in the text that followed after What's Poppin' Logang, there was mentions of Sam and Colby, who are YouTubers, and then there was a mention of Danny Duncan, which Hannah said is the superior YouTuber. Sam and Colby do videos on paranormal investigations. I'm only including these names because they were referenced in my group chat way too much. There were also several references to Prime. On Instagram, Cameron Sinnell, who goes to Indiana University, had @DrinkPrime team in her bio and posted photos where Prime drinks appeared in the background. On May 30th, 2024, G. Triesenberg 21 uploaded a series of photos with the caption 3/4 #ThankYouSeniors and added a song by Fast Life Youngstas. In the comments, Ryan Hartz wrote, stay off the energy drinks. G. Triesenberg replied, no more Prime. Prime is a drink co-founded by Logan Paul and KSI. On February 12th, 2026, I received a TikTok notification that said FastLifeP_ started following me. The profile picture showed a male covering his face with money, and the username stood out because it matched the name of Fast Life Youngstas, the artist whose song G. Triesenberg had used in his photos. On May 31st, 2024, John Trzeskowski posted photos and wrote halfway, #thankyou-seniors. In the comment section, Primetime SP21 wrote, "Great year," and John replied, "@Primetime, thank you." Then Danny Highland commented, "Ready for Big Jim's party." Jim is also the name of 2 partners at my mom's former law firm, which stood out to me. I also noticed that the username Primetime SP21 includes the word prime, which stuck out as another reference to Logan Paul and KSI because of their prime drink. On October 15, 2024, John Robert R. posted a photo and wrote, "Jim back in his prime." Do these YouTubers hang out with the Paul brothers and Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast? If so, information spreads. Fact: many people care more about money and their success. Unfortunately, I'm pointing this out for a reason. The public needs to know what's going on in my family situation, as this can happen to them. Anyone in the public eye that supports child exploitation should not be supported as public figures. Has anyone stopped to think how certain people got so big? Really think about that and what I'm sharing with you. Force the FBI to reveal their findings. Sunflowers, money, and face covering imagery. The image of someone covering their face immediately reminded me of a photo I took on September 29th, 2018, where I held a huge sunflower over my face. I was only 13 years old. A similar image appeared again on July 29, 2024, when Mia Larson, a girl I met in Michigan and used to be friends with, posted a photo of herself with her friends. I believe it is her friend Joelle in the photo. In that picture, Joelle is holding some flowers up to his face, and Mia is also holding the flowers up to his face. I also remembered that years earlier, back in grammar school, when I was visiting family in Florida, my cousin Enrique had a lock screen photo of himself holding money up to the camera. He might have been covering his face. A repeated imagery of faces being obscured, whether with money or sunflowers, stood out to us as a recurring visual pattern. Gang references and symbolic numbers. On January 7, 2020, a group chat was made by classmates. Someone named it Crazy 8 Gang. January 15, 2021, Hannah wrote, "We need the whole gang. Kiara, you won't always have the whole gang." Also, my mom and I received messages/emails referencing handshake. Classmates on social media made references to their souls being black. Trees, crosses, and suicide symbolism. In other videos, I talked about how Hannah posted crime scene photos on Snapchat on Easter. There was a photo of her lying on the ground as if deceased. There was also a photo of her cousin in a tree. Hannah also posted in our high school group chat a video of a doll with a rope around its neck swinging in the air. On June 21st, 2023, the day before my birthday, Lena Webb posted multiple photos. One of the photos was of a tree that had fallen to the ground. The reference to trees is to represent a cross because the cross was made from wood. This was a piece to the puzzle. On December 31st, 2017, Logan Paul uploaded a video to his YouTube regarding the suicide forest in Japan. This video showed a man who hung from a tree by suicide. Why did he do that? Was it really for views? Japan pattern. January 31st, 2020. Kiara wrote in the group chat, "I need an air mask, but they all are from China or Japan and look." February 5th, 2020. Kiara wrote, "My using my keyboard and the Korean keyboard, Japanese too." March 11, 2020. Kiara wrote, "Serious, excellent advice by Japanese doctors treating COVID-19 cases." March 15, 2020. Kiara wrote, "Like how Japanese are when they cough." March 23rd, 2020. Kiara started writing texts in Japanese. Claire, Japanese. January 29, 2021, Kiara wrote Japanese. Kiara, Japanese name Kumiko or something. February 1st, 2021, Kiara sent a group chat titled, "Why I Want to Live in Japan," star heart star emojis, and wrote, "How'd I get to Japan travel TikTok?" Kiara, and yes, anime TikTok and Japan TikTok are 2 different TikToks, even though anime is from Japan. February 4th, 2021, Kiara wrote in the group chat, "In Germany and Japan, so I don't know." March 15th, 2021, Kiara wrote, "Ramen is Japanese." April 12th, 2021, Kiara wrote, "Not people in Japan eating raw eggs." April 19, 2021, Kiara was trying to write names in our group chat to figure out what boy I liked. Kiara wrote Jar, Jure, Jared, Jarson, Jason, Japan. Anna then wrote Jason Derulo, Kiara, Japan, WTF. Kiara, Jacob Sartorius. Kiara, how are Japanese people eating eggs and raw fish? April 23rd, 2021, Kiara sent a TikTok, "Japanese convenience stores are top tier." Kiara, bro, why can't America be like Japan? Kiara, I want to go to Japan just for the food. April 27, 2021, Kiara wrote, "A Japanese guy." Think about all of these text messages. Who is influencing them to talk like this? I will leave you with this thought. Please see part 2 to this video where I go into celebrity references, a warning to the world, and most importantly, divine intervention.